Wait, you went live, Solomon. Wait, I'm not allowed to curse. Never mind. We're
You're
all
allowed
good.
to curse?
Welcome everybody. I am allowed to
Great
curse, but not the
gentleman.
first 1 minute. We need the ad revenue, guys. We need the ad revenue, guys.
There's no jaws here. It's a clean episode.
Exactly,
Jaws
clean
cursing.
episode.
Yeah.
It's a family.
Yeah.
It's a family show now.
Yeah, just the first 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking for. Welcome everybody to the first edition of our new show, Plat Chat Bodybuilding. With me today, I got Legday. We got AVRL there. That's right, AVRL. You flex those biceps. We got Jake. Jake coming fresh or some, I don't know, some rocking, some climbing. Oh, the biceps. I love that.
Tweet. Get the
I
Uber
regret
tweet
wearing
out.
long sleeve now. What?
We should have had
Uber tweet?
Uber.
Yeah, we can't
You
swear
get
in the
Uber
first
tweet?
minute, but we can
Hold
have
up.
Uber nipples.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah,
were going to have Uber on the show actually, but he informed me that it was ironically leg day, and so he had to go pump up some squats, and so no, we were not going to have Uber on, but we probably should have Uber on. Oh my God, there we go. Whoa, whoa! Hope this doesn't demonetize us, cause god damn, that is borderline not suited for work. Holy, man's looking clean out there.
Bro is money.
Bro is money.
So what happened was VCT said if you're not under 12% body fat, you can't be on the show. He's like, oh fuck, I better just lean up then. I better lean up. Oh damn. So he did.
Yeah, we got the job title changed to models that serve, which
Yeah. I'm sitting at a healthy 16, so that's why I'm not on the show. You know, they cut me because unlucky.
Yeah,
When I get to 12, I might try again.
you go
When I get
into
to 12.
work and you got to go through the DEXA scan before they let you on camera.
Yeah, daily DEXA scan. Hey, at least it's free. That's just expensive, by the way. I do those once a month.
Yeah, they're like hundreds of dollars,
It actually
right?
does. It does cost money.
Wait, once a month is crazy, dude.
Okay, sometimes 6 weeks. More like 6 weeks. I
Yeah.
like to have information.
Please
I'm an
tell me that
analyst.
your-
I'm
your
an
next
analyst
show
on
reel.
all areas.
You could probably get a
of my
better
life.
rate if you like do it with the same company or something. I don't know.
Can you
Jake's-
end your next
Jake's
show
in
reel with like
negotiation. mate. You tell Jake's just in negotiation. He's just trying to negotiate with me right now. What rate
I've
you
never
got for
done
me,
a
Jake?
DEXA actually. I've always been curious.
Oh, that once. They're good. They're good.
Yeah. I guess I don't know if it would really change anything for me, and that's why I kind of haven't done it. I'm like, will I change my strategy based on that?
It actually did change for me because it was after COVID. I did money like 2021, so it was after COVID, and I was like, yeah, feeling good, you know, yeah, feeling awesome. And then I went to take a DEXA scan, and it was like 26% body fat, and I was like, oh fuck, oh my God, holy shit, the COVID, like the takeout really impacted me more than I thought, and so my confidence just went down the drain, and I went like on a hard fucking cut and like worked out really hard
went on a
and
cut?
stuff. I did go on a cut, yeah. Now I didn't get to Uber shots level, but it did actually inform me more appropriately what my body fat level was.
How was your Sigma gameplay during the cut? Just curious. I don't know why I'm asking, but how was your Sigma gameplay?
You know, I was
Affected or
feeling
no,
a bit
it's still
out
the
of it
same?
at times. I really struggled with shot calling and
Oh,
preparing for the
really?
fights, stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah, I did struggle with that. But
Seriously though, like, did you fit on the Dex? Not because you're very fucking tall. Did you fit on the Dexa properly?
DEXA?
No, I'm serious because the scans. When I go, the scan machine is not big. If I was your height, I would not fit.
so
Just saying.
first of all, I can't believe we're still talking about this. Second of all,
I'm curious.
It's a
actually,
video games podcast.
so they had
Seriously,
this like
podcast.
DEXA scan truck, dude. 90% of the viewers don't even know what like DEXA is. But anyway, I went into this truck because they had like a DEXA scan truck or whatever, and the lady actually told me that a lot of like NBA athletes and stuff like get DEXA scan because they're professional athletes, right? And so I guess
brought
those
the
are like
NBA
made
size one
for
out for you.
tall people. So.
Yeah, were you talking about NBA before? We're like, oh, a tall guy. This is my moment. I want to talk about the NBA.
They gave
Yeah,
the
they
NBA
were like,
size
"Oh,
one.
do you play? Do you play?" And I was like, "No, I don't play." Come on, dude, it's so annoying every time.
They look at you
Anyway.
with 26% body fat, like, oh, you're playing, are you?
Under the rim, I'm a menace under the rim. You know, I box out.
Under the
Offensive
rim.
rebounds, kick it out to the point guard. That's what I do. That's what I do.
You're just saying words you've heard basketball casters say.
No. They call me the Swedish Valanciunas. Don't worry about it. You know, New Orleans Pelicans, right there. Albert would get it. Albert is the only one. He'd get it. Anyway, you know what's also really important for Plat Chat bodybuilding? Nutrition. That's right.
Agreed.
Leads me into Factor meals. Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals make eating better every day easy. Wherever tomorrow takes you, be ready with pre-prepared, chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. You'll have over 35 different options a week to choose from, including keto, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more. Legday, we actually spotted out there was a Protein Plus. There was a Protein Plus package right there. So if you're building the muscles, and you come home from the gym and you need some fuel immediately, Factor Meals, hit them up. That's right. What are you waiting for? Get started today and have a feel-good week with meals ready to go. 2-minute meals, fuel up fast with Factor's restaurant-quality meals that are ready to eat, heat and eat wherever you are. So I actually got to try some of this. 2 minutes, 30 seconds in the microwave, boom, ready to eat. I'm ready to stream. I need to go get some food in the middle of the stream. I just go to the microwave. I put the food in, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, tons of different meals, lots of variety. You don't get bored. It's good quality. It tastes good. Snacks, smoothies, and more. I know they got pancakes in here. Last time we did this read, jaws popped off because there's all pancakes here. I don't know if they have it on the Protein Plus package necessarily, but the proteins apparently great. You can sign up and save without the math. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. Head to factormeals.com/Overwatch50 and use code Overwatch50 to get 50% off. That's code Overwatch50 at factormeals.com/Overwatch50 to get 50% off. There you go.
Bro, you're gonna pop off in your next DEXA scan.
Oh, dude. Well, it does. Factor doesn't guarantee that you'll lose weight, but it's really efficient for time saving, and they make delicious meals. So, if you just want to game, if you just want to grind ranked for like 8 hours, this is perfect. 4 hours in, pop it in the microwave, get a great meal coming your way. So there you go. Factor Meals. You know what else is exciting, guys?
Nutrition is the
go
most
on,
important part
go on.
of the workout
I was gonna say
routine.
if you did actually only eat Factor and you cut out like takeaways, junk food, sodas and stuff, you will. I guarantee you'll lose weight.
Well, no, we can't actually say that because Factor Meals doesn't guarantee losing weight, Avril, so we can't actually say that. But generally speaking, if you eat meals like Factor provides in roughly...
You're more likely.
Can we move on? Factor Meals, this is great, everybody. The meals are fantastic. I promise you, I've eaten them myself. 2 minutes, 30 seconds in the microwave. They're delicious. I've tried a few of these different services, but Factor Meals is my favorite so far. Because, this is really efficient if you're like gamers, if you're like us. So I've had a chance to try a few different ones, but Factor Meals is definitely my go-to in that regard. And speaking of...
Just to not spend so much money on delivery stuff.
That we can say, yes. I got ramen the other day and it was like $30, and I was like, oh my god, that's like a third of a Plat Chat episode. Well, because I had to get the chicken too, I had to add some extra chicken because some Plat Chat bodybuilding. Anyway, talking about my preferences.
Show.
When it comes to my balls, I'm choosing Manscaped. What's up, fellas? Spring break's knocking on the door, and it's time to upgrade that below-the-belt game. The real flex this year is keeping your boys downstairs fresh and clean. Nobody wants to be the guy with a pube fiesta. That's where our buddies at Manscaped created the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the ultimate weapon to tame those unruly bushes. Before you hit that pool party, make sure your boys are groomed to perfection. Join Manscaped's revolution by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with code PLATCHAT. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is where it's at, featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the game changer in your grooming arsenal. They've taken grooming precision to a whole new level with this trimmer's next gen dual skinscape blade heads, now accompanied by an upgraded trimmer blade and interchangeable foil blade for enhanced performance. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code PLATCHAT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code PLATCHAT at manscaped.com. Manscaped, for when you want to be caught with your pants around your ankles.
You tried this one at home as well? Mods? Show Johnny's balls.
Yeah, I've tried this at home. Look, dude, it's awesome. Like, what do you want me to say?
It's 2024. You should try this at home.
Yeah,
that's right.
Do not try this in public.
Definitely
we're on
try
that
this
body
in
care
public.
kit. It's 2024. There you go. Avril putting up Mitch there. I don't know if we can. Mitch has never been on the show, so I don't know if we can't really affiliate him with Manscaped here.
Rights to his image.
No, I don't think this is. I don't want to get a nasty text from Mitch being like, yo, you used my, amazing body during the Manscaped read. But I'll have to take some pictures to showcase what I was able to achieve with Manscaped. But I don't know if the public wants to see that.
Show the progress pics, Johnny. The public I want to see.
Question. Based on Mitch's current body, he probably does. I think he manscapes. This guy manscapes for sure. That's a compliment. That's a Manscaped body if I've ever seen one.
It's a guess, but maybe he does. But
that's a Plat Chat guarantee, guys. I'm sure of it.
We gotta talk about this after the episode. We can't guarantee stuff during sponsor reads. Anyway, moving on. Oh my god. Oh, it's a shame we're live, guys. Anyway,
Bro, it's a
moving on.
legal minefield of a salesman.
Restart the episode.
Oh my
run it
God.
back.
Oh my god. Well, you know, we love you guys. We love you. All right.
Called it 4K.
Yeah, caught in 4K. Anyway, let's move on. This has been an amazing episode because this is going to be an amazing episode because we're going to talk about Cowboy Bebop, the big collaboration that was dropped this week in the mid-season patch. Everyone's excited, except for a few individuals who are a little bit too precise about their skins here. So, who wants to guide me through the drama this week? Who wants to guide me through the Cassidy drama this week?
I mean,
He
I
has
think
no
people
hat.
are just.
There you go. That's
Yeah,
the
the
drama.
hat. I think the hat is one thing, but I think it's more just like they're mad that it's not like that. The Overwatch skins when they're another character, they're just basically like the Overwatch character kind of cosplaying the other character. They don't really do like an actual like Fortnite status. Like I am an NFL player in Fortnite. You know, like it's just like there's like it just that. You know, whereas Overwatch the characters, it's still the Overwatch character. They don't want to make it, which they've always done. I'm pretty sure. Like they've always had that like. It still is that character in the art style, and they just like kind of are looking in a way that they look like another character. Like even if you look at like you know, Doomfist is still black in the Saitama skin. You know, like he's like Doomfist.
Oh, he's not Japanese?
He's Doomfist
Yeah.
wearing the Saitama costume. You know, and so I think it's like that's the Overwatch way to do collabs and stuff, which I think you can agree or disagree with. But I don't know. It's hard to be like too surprised about it.
I mean, who's surprised? Because does everyone understand why this is? It's because the game still needs to have readability and it still needs to have like hitboxes the correct size. It's like it's still got to look like Cassidy because everyone when you go up against this character, you got to know what you're going up against Cassidy. You can't be like, I don't know what this character is anymore. Like it's got to have the same size, same silhouette, same hitbox. It's got to be the Overwatch character first and foremost. Otherwise, the readability of the game is completely out the window. So you were never going to get a 1-to-1 of the anime character for any of the collabs.
Bro's got that
So,
PS1 polygon hair.
I just thought it was pretty basic. The only issue I have is like the hair does look goofy, but beyond that,
I kind of like it actually. Like it's kind of goofy, but I like it. I don't know.
it looks like a clown wig. Do you know what I mean? Like when you
I'm definitely gonna be rocking this skin. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna rock all these skins.
like I can buy,
It is
like
the
I
best
feel like
Cassidy skin.
I feel like I can buy that hair at a party shop as a hat as or as
That
a
one's
wig. You
on
know?
sale.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, it looks
all
good.
right, let's be honest though. The Faye Valentine skin. We stand.
We're moving
And,
on.
We do.
and it's got a competitive advantage because I think it's got the best Ash scope out of all the Ash skins.
Oh, interesting. I haven't
I
seen
thought you were
this.
going a different way with that, buddy.
Pay to win. Pay to win.
Yeah, I think it's a actual potential pay to win skin. It's the scope is beautiful.
All right,
you can
so-
see a lot.
The standard
genuinely.
scope is pretty good. Too.
Avril, you like
dot
jumping
socks
ahead
skin.
here. I wanted to do individual reviews here, so
sorry.
let's stick
Jake,
on Cassidy
Jake
for a
brought
little
up
bit.
me,
My
not
bad.
me. Jake brought it up. That wasn't me. Blame him. Blame him.
All right, no, we're
I-
just blaming everybody. But I wanted to chat about the Cassidy skin first. So obviously, there's no hat involved here. They got the hair rocking instead. But where do we rank this among all the Cassidy skin? Jake, you said for sure that you'll be rocking the Spike Spiegel. I hope I pronounced it correct. Bundle. Featuring this red Cassidy gun. Do you think this is the best Cassidy skin in the game?
Oh, best. It's hard to say because there's a lot of great skins for Cass, but like this is definitely I'm gonna be rocking this for a while. Like I think that's what you need. It goes in rotation with some of the top skins. I don't think you can have a truly
It's a
best
favorite.
skin. You know, other than like maybe the mythics or something. Like I probably don't swap off the mythic Genji anymore. But for most of these top skins, it's like, you know, they come in rotation. I like the recent robot Cassidy is pretty
Yeah,
dope.
that one.
Oh,
kicks
that is
ass.
true, yeah.
That's what I've been rocking recently. But honestly, I think I'll put this one on for quite a while. I like the gun too. Pretty sick. That flashy red revolver. Sheesh. Look, it actually looks, I like it more and more. Yeah, I'm gonna be rocking this, no question. I'll be
Yeah.
rocking all the Bebop skins for a good while. Like until another, you know, top tier skin comes along.
Until the next collab.
I need a new soldier skin. That's what I need, man.
Do you not like
Ooh.
Space Raider?
No, I don't like that one. I use the cyborg one. It's like
The
How are you not- how are you not using-
455.
How are you
I
not
like the
using
gun
the
on the
Mayhem
bald one.
Mayhem or Fuel biker skin? a soldier.
I don't like that, honestly.
He's
Raider
Houston
looks
for
like
life. He
Marcus
doesn't-
Phoenix
he doesn't
from
wanna wear
Gears of
any other
War in
It's
team
just not my
aspect
style. It's not my
ratio.
style, you know. I
It's
want
like
it to
mayhem,
be-
nah. Fuel, nah.
Yeah, seriously.
Houston,
come on.
ooh, no,
Yeah,
that's
this is
a
a
good one.
Houston bikers. No, I'm
Okay,
just kidding.
okay.
I just don't love that skin. It's okay, you know. I get it, but I feel like you need an aesthetic when it comes to skins. Like it's like, what's your vibe, you know? And that skin has to be it's going to be personal.
I did
This is my vibe.
yeah.
The banger.
I did see, you know, now with the OWCS players can have skins and stuff. I did see a really good player. I'm blanking on the player, but they used Invisible Man Cassidy, and I was like, ew, like, oh, I think I like you a little bit less because you
That's
used
one of the
Invisible Man
OGs,
Cassidy.
right? OG legendary.
It is a legendary, yeah.
It was,
from the
it was
battle
in
pass.
the season 3
Oh no,
or
I know
4
which one.
battle
I know
pass.
which one it is. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that skin. Wait, what do you
By
not like
the
about
way,
that skin?
No,
dude?
the gun looks awful. No, it's
no,
it's
no,
I
bad.
don't know the gun. skin,
That skin, that Invisible Man Cassie skin, that's the current skin max for Cassie. Now,
Skin
I've been
maxing.
I've been
Skin
co-streaming.
maxing.
No, let me explain skin max. You know, this concept came up recently. My viewers allowed me to know, and I
You
also
gotta get
talked
rid
to.
of this backdrop.
Ross,
dude.
Yeah.
I talked to. Don't, dude.
I can't take
The
you
backgrounds.
seriously.
The
When fucking
backgrounds.
Mitch
The
and his mirror
backgrounds.
selfie behind
listen.
you, dude.
First of all, he deserves a promotion. Second of all, the backgrounds are a special treat specifically for our video viewers. See, if you're an audio listener, you need to turn on the YouTube stream just to see the background. That's the one reason you got at least to turn on the background, if not to see everyone's beautiful faces. But you're missing out on Mitch's defined 6 to 8 abs, somewhere between 6 to 8 number of abs in these 2 pictures. And I put them 2 because otherwise my fat head would block the entire picture. So I got to put them 2 behind me. No, skins maxing is a thing because now you can wear skins in the official games, right? You can wear whatever skin you want. And so the concept of like, well, what is the most like advantageous skin you could wear for each hero? And I think for the Cassidy skin, my chat and my stream agrees with me. The invisible Cassidy is the most skin max for that character because it's like the fact that he's invisible makes him that much slightly more difficult to hit, even if it's just placebo.
Bro, you have a
This is
giant
the
red
current-
outline around your character. in
Well, that doesn't
Overwatch.
matter. See, no, don't buy into the DLSS psyop. We're not about that, okay? We ain't talk about no DLSS today. We're just gonna.
This gun is kind of, it's a little weak, though. I'm not going to lie. The gun is
Yeah, it's pretty weak gun.
In terms
Compare
of
this to
real
the
skin
robot,
30% of the models.
right?
30% of the models invisible. That's all I'm saying.
But are you like
Okay,
a
maybe
believer
10%.
that like the Protoss skin max exists for Orisa where it looks like you're fortifying at a glance because they're golden?
Oh, now
That's a
that
good
I like.
idea. I'm
That's-
writing that
that's
one
good.
down. Write that down immediately. That's a good idea.
It's not gonna help you win games, several, but you know, whatever makes you feel better.
If people just glance
Not
at
me.
that
I'm,
tank and not
I'm
paying
talking about the
attention.
pros. Dude, in Korea, a large number of pros are rocking the invisible Cassidy. It's not me. I'm not making this up. They're actually doing it. I'm just saying.
There's
I'm just
there's
reporting that I'm the
way
field
this
reporter. I'm just
matters.
like,
there's
you know.
no possible way in a game with giant red outlines around your characters that this matters.
Listen, they're all using the skin. You talk to them. They're all using the skin. That's all.
They
I'm saying.
like the skin. It looks cool.
Dude,
All right.
the robot one is just the best. It's so
The robot is
freaking
elite.
good.
Yeah, the
See if it's
robot
on
is
here.
elite, the
It's the
bottom
most
right
recent
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo! I mean, it's just come on now.
Look at him.
All the robot skins are kind of elite for the
The
characters.
Honor
It's just
Mystic
like-
is crazy good.
The
yeah.
Honor
Wish
one
the
is
Symmetra
sick.
one had a different
I
color
use the
scheme.
robot one.
I love the Sim one. I think the Sim one's dope too.
I love the Sim one's design, but I don't dig the like Nickelodeon gunge color scheme of purple and
I
green.
kind of like it. It's like I'm playing Splatoon or something.
All right,
I'm putting my paint on you. What are you gonna do? I'm
Cassidy
painting
skin,
you.
elite. But okay, let's move on to Ash here. You've been waiting for it, Jake. You're really hype about it. Let's talk about the Ash skin here. I want leg days. I want leg days first impression here. How do you feel about the Ash skin here, the Faye Valentine?
I think it's the best skin in the bundle. But honestly, like Jake brought up earlier, that in Overwatch lore, all of his skins are just people cosplaying. But does that mean for Omnics to cosplay, they just swap out their entire body? They just change their body parts to other things? Because
You know,
Bob's been a whole ass changed while he's cosplaying.
They went to the body shop, you know? Got a little
We
upgrade.
take him to the mod shop.
Yeah. Quick
The gun looks
outfit
sick.
change.
And she gets 2 victory poses as well.
I love this. This is just a fire skin. I mean, I like the guns and the dynamite all black. Looks really good.
Dynamite is awesome, yeah.
Her such colorful, like her colorful skin color scheme, and then the all black on the guns is pretty dope. Her hair looks great. I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm a fan of the skin. Just looks fire.
Yeah. Why do you like the gun so much, Avril?
Solomon, bring it up. Bring up the screenshot. I'll tell you why. It's purely for competitive reasons. Jake should understand.
bro.
This is the skin max. I can't tell you, this is number one on the skin max tier list at the moment. Now, everyone knows that Ash is actually the most value. See, look at that. Look at that.
I like
clarity
that.
of
It's
vision.
so
Clean.
clean. The clip.
It is
Do you
clean.
see? Was I kidding? Was I lying? No. 0 lies detected. This is the cleanest crosshair and scope for Ash that exists so far. I'm telling you, this is the cleanest one.
So much room
I
for
like it,
activities,
actually.
honestly.
You know, I don't hate it. The circular scope, it's kind of sick.
Yeah. Ash, by the way, is one of the highest value skins you can get because you also get a Bob skin with the Ash.
Yeah, 2 for
A
1.
bit of a 2 for 1. Yeah. Best value. I do think the face skin is the best skin of the entire
I feel
pack.
like Bob dies in like 5 seconds now. Or not like 5 is generous. Like 3
He do
if
get
you
good.
actually just
You
get
don't like Bob
smoked.
these days? We haven't seen some more Ash, so
I mean, not in competitive, really, right? Like
Oh,
everyone
yeah,
thought
a
Ash
little
would be
bit,
good. But
sure.
I feel like we've barely seen it. It's just
barely. Yeah,
I mean-
I'm forcing it here.
I think people overrated. People just overrated how much like stuff like I don't know. I think when people saw this DPS patch note, they were like, "Oh, so like Tracer tickling you across the map is going to be good, and Ash Dynamite puts this thing on you for the healed debuff for a long time." It just doesn't really matter. Like every DPS character can deal like that does damage and can put the passive on you, other than like Junkrat or something. So yeah. I just think
Is there a Plat Chat
She's
quote
okay,
channel
she's
for
fine, she's fine.
Jake's Zen
Only
wisdom of every DPS character does damage?
I think we just cope. I think we just cope on this podcast like day. When we did something with Jake, we're just like, I'll buy the bundle anyway because I like the
No. I'm gonna buy the bundle too. I might play some Ash because of this skin. Don't get me wrong. I'm willing to make sacrifices to look good. That's
There we
all I'm
go.
saying.
Ain't that relatable? That's always sacrifice in the gym to look better. Anyway, moving on to the next one. We got Sombra as well. What do we think about the Sombra
Ed
skin here?
Sombra. I think this is nice actually. I think Sombra's a
clean
great choice
skin.
for Ed.
Yeah.
It's like a very character-wise, it actually tracks like a very like sort of silly and strange character. The hair looks great.
Yeah.
It's tough because it's competing with the Le Seraphim skin. It's just like it's a rough spot to be in.
Hey,
the
Jake, what's your
current moment.
hair tier list? You're into the hair today, so
I like that. Well,
have a hair
I like
tier
the
list?
hair. I mean, of these skins, I've
Oh, just
honestly.
generally.
It's got to be Malga.
Wait, I need to see the Malga skin hair. Now that I think about it, Malga does have. Actually, no, I think I can visualize.
no,
it. Yeah,
no,
I
no,
can
no.
see-
I got no. We let's not jump ahead to Malga just yet.
Yeah,
I can tell you right now, the Sombra skin. Forget about my opinion on the skin. I can tell you that right now, Tyrone has this at S tier. Just saying. If you don't know Tyrone, you're missing out, and I'm not even gonna explain.
okay.
I
you know, you know.
I agree with Jake. I think the hair looks
If you
great.
know, you know.
I like the color too. But like you said, it's a tough category when you're
Yeah.
comparing to Sombra skins. Compared to the Anti-Fragile Slay Star, as the Le Seraphim skin is called.
Do you even know what they're called?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
looking
dude,
at...
I'm-
No,
I'm a-
I'm looking at the Wikipedia.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Zhulong enjoyer. I have not taken that off since I got it. It's a crazy
I'm
good skin.
a Demon Hunter user. Except not
Oh.
anymore. Now I use the Le Seraphim skin. But the Demon Hunter, the gun is so nasty. The little
Yeah, yeah. No,
automatic
that one's good too.
crossbow.
Mhm.
Sick.
Yeah. Sombra's got
But,
some
but
wild weird
honestly,
skins.
I could rock. I'll probably rock all the new skins for a little bit at least.
This
I'm
one-
for sure getting the bundle.
This one has a puppy in a pocket. It doesn't get better than that.
Oh,
I didn't even
yeah,
know
you're
this.
right.
See?
I didn't even see it. Does it like... Is it like a toy or an actual
I
puppy?
think it's a stuffed animal.
Yeah, I believe it's just a plush.
I like.
It's
I
like
actually,
a-
I actually like the hoodie around the waist for.
Yeah,
Sombra.
I did
It's kind
too.
of a sick vibe. Actually,
I like the green.
It's
I'm a
like a
big green guy.
kangaroo, Joey. You know, like a kangaroo pouch with an animal
Yeah,
inside.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
I like the gun too, man. This skin is growing on me. Honestly, I think this might
Yeah.
be kind of a classic that continues to.
You'll use it for a couple of weeks and then be like, what am I doing?
The
I
animation
don't
on the
know.
emote
I
is
don't
sick
know
as
if
well.
I'm gonna get off it. Actually, it's kind of fire.
Again, we'll see Jake on Sombra in ranked. Maybe
I've
not.
been playing a little Sombra. She's got a little place there somewhere in the meta.
Ah!
Not strong, but there's a right comp in certain spots. you can
Every time I
punish.
see Sombra being played these days, everyone just like, oh, I can see it, and then like 5 minutes after, they're just like,
you gotta hard dive with it though. You can't be baiting. You can't be baiting the team.
No.
You gotta go. You got full
you just gotta go. Yeah, you gotta go in, get a couple picks, and then hope you get out with your Nerf transfer killer. All right, moving on to the Malga skin, which I can just right off the bat say it's the best Malga skin because there's no
a banger.
competition here. I mean,
like
this is a
three.
I mean,
banger.
this is so fire. Malga's just a perfect match for the character.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, there's not a lot of Malga skins out there because it's such a new character. But like the machine guns, I don't know. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. I love it. I have a hard time seeing I'll replace this anytime soon.
Yeah,
This
agree.
one's top 3 for Malgasins.
Yeah, I dig it so much in the skin. I took off my golden weapon skin to have the original
Ooh.
machine guns.
It's a good move. It's a good move. I like that. And we're also seeing some more Malga in the meta, of course. So there
Don't
might
remind
be a place where we get
I
to
think
work the
we'll
skin
be
and
seeing
rank.
this skin. That's how it looks right now. I think we'll be seeing this skin a lot.
Oh
You
yeah.
actually, you know what the conspiracy here is that Blizzard buffed Sombra and Malga at the same time as the skin release.
Oh
I
my
see what
God.
you're doing. I see what you're doing, Blizzard. I get it.
Can
I
you blame
respect the
them?
hustle.
It's smart.
Bro, does Malga get enhanced stealth in this skin for the skin max legion that apparently exists in Avror's chat? 'Cause it doesn't have a huge like
There's only 3 skins, so you know, you take your pick.
broken hide behind slightly
Where
smaller
does the Malga hair fit on Jake's hair tier list?
I mean, I
Malga
like
hair.
that.
I think it's good.
He's
I
brow
mean,
maxing, man. He's brow maxing.
I like him with the the haircut called? The one, it's like the fryer or
Bald?
whatever.
Oh,
The fryer cut with the straight into the button job.
Is that what it's called? Fryer cut?
Yeah, I believe
Right.
it's a monk thing.
Because it's like, yeah, it's like, what is it?
Oh, Fryer Tuck? No, this is a Reddit title.
Because monks have
See-
like the bald spot on the top, right? And they have
It
like the wrapper around the back.
reinforces thinking
Googled
like air fryer or like a pan
Dude,
fryer.
I did get fired
FRIAR
on my
for the
first search.
for the non-English speakers. FRIAR.
There's a
Yeah,
Wikipedia
not
article
not
called
the burger
religious
flipper
fryer.
guy.
tonsure. Tonsure is the practice of cutting or shaving some or all the hair on the scalp as a sign of religious devotion or humility. Well, I wouldn't quite say that Malga is, sign of religious devotion or
Yeah, he
humility.
doesn't seem that
but-
really. He seems more interested in blowing stuff up.
Yeah. It's also just a haircut of someone who is actively balding, I suppose.
Alexander
So-
Skarsgård, Swedish.
Yeah, trendsetter right there, Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah,
There we
that's a
go.
trend.
That's
Said
the-
that.
There he is. That's
I
my
have
Swede.
no idea
That's my
when
Swede.
this is happening. What did he do? What? This has to be
It
old.
kind of works on him though. Weird.
Oh,
Yeah,
shut
weirdly
up.
He's
enough.
kind of
Shut
rocking
up!
it.
He looks like a Swedish
like it.
banker.
I like him on this
Dude,
guy.
he looks like Prince William. I think he's getting ready to play Prince William in a movie.
I think
Oh,
it's.
you think?
Oh, that's smart. The photos
looks
are
like Prince
literally
William.
from the New York Exchange as well. He looks like someone who spent time at New York Exchange with that haircut.
Yeah, he looks
Goddamn.
like a stock trader.
Yeah. Anyway, he's one of the goats. One of the Swedish acting goats, right there. I did catch Dune 2 yesterday as well. Stellan Skarsgård,
Ooh.
one of the
Dude,
goats.
Stellan
Oh,
The
is like
Skarsgård family.
he is
The
the
dad?
guy.
Yeah, he is the dude.
I like the guy who plays the evil corpo on Westworld as well. Is that a Skarsgård?
Evil
I think?
Corpo.
Be a bit
Yeah,
more
I mean, there's like
specific with that
4
one.
of them. Yeah, there's like 4 Skarsgårds.
Only
Be a
one
bit
of
more
them is a
specific
Skar-
on that.
Yeah, there are a lot of Skarsgårds. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
There's a Hemsworth
Bill?
in
Bill
Westworld,
Skarsgård, is that him?
so-
Yeah,
I
there,
don't
Liam Hemsworth's in Westworld.
Oh,
Also known
yeah.
as the other
Liam
Hemsworth.
No, the other Hemsworth.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah. The
there's
other
Anyway.
one.
3 of them, and there's many Skarsgårds. There's like 5 Skarsgårds.
Yeah.
Okay, Stellan's been busy. Is all I'm saying.
Yep. Andor, that's another TV show.
And also season
Skarsgård
2
and
coming
Andor.
out at some
Oh
point.
man, I'm pumped for that. That speech just got me in the last couple of episodes of Andor. Anyway, moving on here. That was not the only collab. You know, we're super excited about the Cowboy Bebop collab, of course. So many fans are excited about this one, but also we saw another collab, and this one piqued a lot of interest in us 20-year-olds kind of generation right here. I know Jake really got going on this one. It's the Overwatch and Porsche collab from southwest. J3 I think was reporting live from this event. They got customized Porsche Diva mech at the event, which is awesome. It's like real life size, I think, because I saw J3 next to it, and I was like, wow, that's a big. There you
J3's
go.
what, he's like 6'6", right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It must
Yeah,
be
so the
pretty
mech must
tall.
be like 8 feet or something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
J3 for scale.
I don't know where really, but another awesome Overwatch collab.
I
with
love
Porsche,
that
so-
collab actually. That's totally
this
totally
one
out of
goes
left
so
field.
hard.
Never would have seen it coming, but it's just sick. I love the idea of like Diva and like I mean it just tracks for Diva I think so well.
Bro,
Like,
this-
like
this-
Diva would be driving a Porsche. You know, like in real life, Diva would she'd be rocking some kind of fine luxury vehicle, and with Porsche partnership, I guess we've got that question answered.
In my head, it kind of opens up like the mecha cinematic universe, wherein they're like coming of age films. There's like an evil team that has like the German mechas, like the BMWs and the Mercedes, compared to the like plucky Korean mecha ones. Also, this means like we've got so many more options for collabs now in Overwatch since car companies getting in. We'll get a General Electric collab, like a A10 Warthog Ramatra who turns into a washer dryer combo.
Let's be honest, it'll be Diva again because that's part of what's going on right now. Diva's getting all the collabs. If you think about it, she got the what is it, the glasses, the Gentle Monster collabs. She got the Le Seraphim. She's got the Porsche.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised she wasn't in the Bebop one. Honestly, no. But Diva's
She's
Diva's
an
getting them
esports superstar, right?
because I think the Gentle Monster one, it makes sense. Okay, she's the Korean hero. And the Le Seraphim one, okay, it's K-pop. She's Korean. And the Porsche one's like, well, she's the only one in like a vehicle. So we got to do Diva again. So you know, she's just caught
I
like
mean, hey,
nearly
Diva
3 in a
stays
row,
winning.
nearly.
Diva stays winning.
Yeah. The only
the collab
unrealistic
queen.
part of this really is that Diva got a Porsche with the esports money, which we know would not be the case. But
Well, I
Hey,
mean,
wearing
some-
Balenciagas in this
Don't
skin.
speak that into reality. Someday I'll drive a fine luxury automobile.
was
Not
probably-
today.
guys,
Someday.
I'm
all
pretty
the
sure.
content creators just like, oh, you know, Porsche. Hey, can I get a Porsche? Like,
Can I
come
get a
on,
free
like,
car? I'll
can I get a
tweet you
free
out,
car?
bro. I'll tweet you out if you give me
I'll
a
be honest.
vintage 911.
I'm pretty sure, and Jake can back me up. I'm pretty sure that Boink in season 2 could afford a Porsche. I'm just saying.
Can't speak to that. Can't speak to that.
If I
well-
speak, I'm in trouble.
I'm
That's
just saying he had the money for it. I'm just
That's
saying
good.
he had the funds available.
I will say I know of one person. I won't say who because I don't know. But there was one person who actually got a car because of an Overwatch sponsorship they did. So I'm not gonna say who. They might be out there already.
They got
but
like a free
it
car?
does happen, guys. Keep your hopes up. It does happen.
Like, for
You can
free?
get a car. Yeah, they got a car for free.
Crazy.
Because
I
it is
mean, we
sponsorship.
had Toyota sponsorship in the first 2 years, right?
That might be true. So you know that one's easy to figure out. Someone will get it in like 2 minutes. So
I
people
miss
might
those
already know,
ads,
but-
man. Those ads were sick.
Oh, what, sponsors? Yeah, sponsors are sick.
The only thing I remember about esports players in cars is Sick from Sentinels of Valorant who tried to buy a Ferrari and then got detained. He got arrested. So that's all I remember about esports players
Okay,
in cars.
well, come on now.
All right, I got a
remember
question
couple
for you
of
guys,
those.
Plat
Yeah.
Chat, for everybody. Do you guys have a dream car? Money's no
That's a
no
good
object.
question.
Just any
Ooh.
like what would, and I mean like sort of something you
Batmobile.
actually want to drive. Like
Okay,
if you want to drive a Lamborghini to the grocery store, then you can say that. But
If
just
you want
like,
to pay insurance for a Lamborghini,
yeah, no, money. No, we're not talking money. We're just
Okay,
talking daily,
all right.
daily driver. What is it? You
I'm
win the lottery.
taking a risk. I'm driving it without the insurance. We risk
No, okay,
What's
whoa,
going
whoa,
on
whoa.
in short?
You know, like,
You have a
we
dream
YOLO.
car
We live- you got
hypothetical,
one
you're
life,
All right,
going
the
to
insurance
drive.
is covered in my fantastical scenario. All expenses covered.
where do you go? You guys go first. AVRL, Legday, whoever wants to go first.
I've got a basic one. I like the Audi R8. It's probably my favorite car.
Good pick.
I'd have the Audi R8.
Yeah, my wife actually has an Audi, not an Audi R8 to be perfectly clear, but she does have an Audi, and I'm like, yeah, it's a good
To be
car
fair, all the
manufacturer.
Audis basically look the same and just get progressively more futuristic and cool as you go up the stack.
Yeah, progressively it looks faster
Yeah.
the more expensive they get. But yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm
AVRL, how
gonna-
about you?
I'm gonna not choose a fancy Italian or European sports car. I'm gonna go full American. I'm gonna go full K-Kona, baby. Something that is actually potentially, hopefully, one day within reach. So I don't want it to be too out of reach. But I'm a big fan of Mustangs, and so like I think a Shelby GT500 would be it for me. If I could get that,
Wow.
Oh.
that'd be sick. I
Classic
think
car.
Mustang is like close. It's like close to being affordable. So I could
It's,
get like a stock
possible.
Mustang. If I don't like completely shit the bed, maybe one day I could actually get like a
Yeah,
stock
let's
Mustang.
go.
It's actually affordable. So
Do they have this for tall people, Solomon? I might have to cop. The eyes on the front. Look at those
I don't
wheels.
think they have those
Little
for tall
tykes.
people, Johnny.
No? A man can dream.
Johnny, if you got one of these, it'd be the size of an actual car.
Look, man, it'd be a good ride. It'd be a good ride. I think the first car when I grew up, the first car that really like amazed me. I remember watching Top Gear, and they did. There you go. that's me. That's me right there.
That's you going to the DEXA scan.
They're going my way through the DEXA scan. Yeah, you know, they got like weight measure like requirements and stuff for those. But anyway, they did a Lamborghini Murcielago review on Top Gear, and I was like, that looks clean. But then I realized I can't fit in that, so it'd probably be some like, I don't know. I like rooting for Aston Martin in Formula One, so it'd be like an Aston Martin SUV or something. But you know, something classy. But money shouldn't be a factor. What about you, Jake? What about you, Jake?
If you pulled the seats all the way back, you can't fit. If you try to pull, if you put it
I mean,
all the
realistically,
way,
those crazy
you know?
sports cars, it's like ridiculous. If you're tall, you like basically can't fit.
And then like recline it back as well. You know, full back, recline. You're like lying down.
Like they
you're
don't even have
actually
that
a
much
Formula One
room
driver. You're
in
lying
those
down.
cars. You can't adjust the seat that much.
Dude, when I got my
Legs
first
on the
car
dash.
a couple of years ago, I went to all different like dealerships, and I went to a Kia dealership because I really like the new look of the Kia sedan or whatever. Like it looks clean, it looks pretty futuristic. It's pretty cheap as well. You know, it's good budget, or you know, relatively speaking, it's a pretty cheap, affordable car. Yeah, if you're buying a first car. And I tried sitting in it, and it took 2 minutes, and I was like, I will never fit in this. Like this is just it's just.
If you're really tall,
so.
you have to shop carefully. I think you're.
Yeah, you gotta shop carefully.
Test fit them all.
I love my current Mazda. Mazda has good cars.
You need to check. Go on some NBA player Twitters and see what cars they drive. That's the kind of cars you need, because you know
they all drive like G wagons and like big SUVs.
See, G wagons. That's a car that
just
Johnny
get
can
a
fit
G wagon, bro.
if an NBA center can fit, if whatever Shaq drives, Johnny can fit in it.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true.
That's actually my secret, Avril. You just spoiled my secret. My secret is to add tall Reddit at the end of every Google search, because then I just get the tall search results. So, you know.
Right. Have you been on tall Google?
No, like it's literally a thing. There's a tall subreddit where people chat about like, hey, is this a good office chair for tall people? And you know, so it's my superpower. Anyway, Jake, you haven't said your your dream
so
car.
mine, I like the new Mercedes CLEs. I think they look really good.
Ooh,
one of those.
Yeah,
just the sedan. You know, I love it. They look so clean. I like
fellow German car enjoyer.
I am a German car enjoyer.
I currently have a French car. Cannot recommend.
Yeah.
I drive a Subaru, which I love my Subaru. To be fair, I think it's gonna last me about a decade. So I'm not anytime soon getting.
Not in a rush.
Isn't Jaws a huge car guy?
I would get one of these in black, a CLE in black. Oh, they look so good.
This is his episode. He's missing all the cards.
Yeah, he's missing out on the car tie. That's on him.
Speaking of Jaws things that he's missing out on, I think Jagex announced a new MMO today. Bro's a huge RuneScape head, and they're bringing out.
Look
I
at
think
this, guys! Tell me this is not a beautiful automobile.
Ooh. That is
how much do these go for? Are these affordable?
Like 60 grand.
Oh, see, Jake and I are on the same page. We're all about the affordable dream cars, you know.
yeah. I mean, this is like it's not like I think when you get to 100 plus territory, it's like I'm not paying for that insurance.
You can get an R8 for like 80.
Yeah, so I mean that's still achievable. That's achievable, but I still think I want to buy a house first before I buy, or some kind of like own a place to live before I would buy a car this expensive. Because in the end, it's like you can get a car for like 30 grand that is like super safe, everything's great, everything works amazingly, and it lasts you a decade. And so you're basically paying double that or more for the style. I feel like I can't justify that until I'm much further along in life.
If you get one of those like, you know, Rockstar tour buses, you can do both at the same time.
True.
Because you can live in those. Yeah, one of those tall camper vans.
Yeah, I'm just going to the grocery store. I'm driving my tour bus in LA. That's gonna be great. It's gonna feel great driving a fucking
things
tour
have like
bus in LA.
those motherfuckers have a master bedroom inside. I'm just telling you.
What you doing when Jake comes up in your comp game on the bus Wi-Fi?
Have you ever driven a bus? Do you want to drive a bus?
I've driven a truck before. Real talk. I've actually driven a truck before one time.
Like a semi?
Wow.
It wasn't like multiple it was just the one truck.
It wasn't like a U-Haul. I've driven a U-Haul before.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Okay, well,
it's terrible, bro. It's so
Jake's
bad.
trying to one-up me right now.
I don't want to. It's such a bad experience driving this.
The correct answer for dream car is the Atlanta Rain tour van with the PCs inside.
I don't want to live there, man.
What happened to that? Where is that? That's
I gotta ask, guys. At this point in the podcast, do you think the listeners are skipping using the 15-second button, or do you think they're scrolling at this point, just hoping to reach some Overwatch content? They're just scrolling with the thumb.
I think the car heads are enjoying this. I think the car heads are out there.
Actually, I bet there's some crossover between the car heads and the gamers. I think there's something to it.
Yeah, you know, we are in some ways the Fast and Furious generation.
Oh, there it is.
So,
Oh my god.
you know, when I grew up, it was all about the Nissan Skyline, because they had that in the early Fast and Furious movies, and the Toyota Supra.
That car's worth a lot, by the way. That car's worth more than the R35s. I'm pretty sure.
Wait,
R34s.
this one?
No. Sure. The
I mean, this thing's
Lanta
probably very
Rain Mercedes van. Yes, of course.
I remember being in a car, and every time Jaws saw like a Toyota Supra, he'd be like, "Oh my god, look at that Toyota Supra right there!" Yeah, skater. Yeah. Anyway, it's time to move on, fellas. We can. I'm sure people enjoy this half episode of Foreheads right here, impromptu here on Plat Chat. But it was a good question, Jake. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, moving on from the Overwatch and Porsche collab. Let's get into the patch notes. And oh boy, did we got some mid-season patch notes for you guys. It's I'll be honest. The patch notes are not what I expected. There are some changes in here that I did not see coming. So as we pull up these patch notes,
a lot of these changes I didn't see coming.
Build a season, baby. Build a season.
I found this page, and the first thing I did was like Control F Moira, and I just 0 out of 0. There's nothing in there.
Change, right?
Yeah, so it's right off the bat, I was like, wait a minute.
Do you want a change? Were you wanting a change?
Yeah, look, I'm on a crusade at this point. I just want to nerf Moira. I'm tired of Moira in the top tier play, guys.
Lucio needs a nerf. He's a little out of control these days.
Johnny, you don't get it. Johnny, you don't understand. Moira just got a mythic. She ain't getting nerfed.
Shit, that's true.
What we need is a Moira stat optics nerf. She needs to not have her biotic grasp self-healing included in her healing stats, so you can see how much healing she's given to everyone else.
Oh, it's
still impact. It's still impact.
It's an absurd hero. So they start off right off the bat here, and they just announced some minor changes to the projectile size, depending on like the meterage, the project travel speed for some heroes here. So you can see that greater than 50 meters per second reduced from 0.1 to 0.075 meters. And they also, as we talked about earlier, they reduced the damage roll passive from 20 to 15%. We've also talked about some of the tank changes that come into effect after this. We just quickly brushed over the Doomfist change, which increases minimum damage from 15 to 50, and also the Malga changes, where the overrun cardiac drive.
We gotta talk about this.
Yeah. No, we'll get to it. I'm just addressing some of these changes that we already kind of like discussed here. But we can just start here. Like, as you played Doomfist, Malga, like, do you think these are a bit more impactful than you thought, or are they not impactful at all?
I mean, I think the Doom buff is pretty nice, but
yeah,
honestly, I'm like, I don't think any of these changes are really that huge. The Malga one is interesting to me. I guess it's the 100 HP that like is a really big deal. Giving just like 100 HP flat on an ability is kind of a lot to just like press a button, and it's on a shorter cooldown. So kind of sick actually to just be more spammable. And realistically, you're always like trying to kite this ability, right? So like, having it not last as long isn't, I think, such a bad thing for Malga, because it's like realistically you're just popping this, trading for a few seconds, and then the enemy's gonna run away and you're full HP and everything like that. So I don't think the duration nerf hurts all that much, but having lower CD and the passive instant HP, this is just very this the passive is or the instant HP. I mean, the guarantee is such a big deal. You can like live on 1 HP because you press this ability. You buy more time to lifesteal. It's pretty sick.
I think Jake is unaware.
What?
Unaware?
Unaware of what happened in OWCS and what's happening in scrims with this hero. This hero is... All I'm going to say is this patch needs to be reverted. We have to undo this patch. Bring back OPR. I'm not happy with this. We're Malgan too hard right now. I'm not happy with the amount of Malgan.
It's just the HP is making him unkillable, I guess?
Bro, we are headed in the potential direction of a Malga Mirror meta. I'm not even joking. And behind me is the best mirror, by the way. It's just to remind the video.
Wow. Filled with Uber.
Yeah, the Uber mirror. Anyway, so because you have to remember, it's not just the Malga changes. The Malga changes on itself is that. But then on top of that, you have the DPS passive change, which is also a buff to Malga. If you think about it, because he's a healing hero.
Yeah, it's a buff to
So
all
if you-
the heals members.
So if you nerf that, then he gets more healing. Now his healing is now on a shorter cooldown. It doesn't last as long. But just being on the shorter cooldown, plus an extra 100 HP. That green HP, by the way, is like a mini Zara bubble that allows you to heal while the green HP is active. So you're like getting more time to heal without being damaged because people have to damage to the green HP first. Everything compounded together with the uptime of this cardiac overdrive means that
Oh boy.
he's insanely strong. Oh, there's double me. Look, there's me and there's me on the broadcast. I love that. But go to New Queen Street. Like go along this VOD. If you go to New Queen Street, you're gonna see some shit.
Wait,
you're
so
gonna
are
get-
they playing on the new patch?
Yes, they're playing live.
Yeah.
Because there's no OPR. There's no OPR. They have to play live.
Oh, that's true, actually.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the
It's
same in NA and
it's
EU.
Malga Mirror. And the thing is, you're thinking, oh, but this is just Asia, guys. Asia's playing Malga. No. NA is I believe Toronto Defiant M80. They're
Yeah.
currently playing Malga Mirrors in scrims
Yeah.
as well.
The effective cooldown of cardiac overdrive, or I guess effective cooldown went from 7
like if
seconds
you're-
to 6
yeah.
seconds.
Pretty sick, actually.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Actually
I think the
disgusting.
biggest thing is getting flat HP. It's a huge deal to get flat HP.
Mm-hmm.
Like, huge deal to get instant flat HP. It's like when Junker Queen Shout came out. When Junker Queen released that, the Shout was like, people forget that the Shout used to give you like twice as much health as it does now, and that was ridiculous. That was like the reason that comp was so insanely good with the Queen Brig. Is like you don't need that much healing with the Brig Lucio because you just get a huge flat HP stack and like you don't die because you have so much HP. I feel like that is, I don't know, very underrated, and I guess this hero's. It's like the first tank hero that I'm like, wow, this and like Orisa that like should not be meta. Like it's just like it's like a
And by
clear
the way-
problem if this hero is the meta.
Two things. One, for the video watchers who are thinking he's wearing the same shirt in the video, that's because I streamed this last night. The other thing, number two, is
Cover the bases.
people are playing Sombra with the Malga in these mirrors. You're thinking, how does Sombra play with Malga? The only
EMP,
reason
that thing.
Sombra is playing in this meta at all is because you use EMP solely to kill the cage.
Yeah.
EMP is a cage counter, and that's the only reason Sombra's
Only
going to
thing in
play.
the game
It's
that kills the
that
cage.
cringe. We're now not only in a Malga mirror meta, we're in a Sombra mirror meta as well. It's twice as bad. Now all
I
we
feel
need
like,
is
I feel like
Moira.
we've talked about this before, guys.
Now all
like,
we need is
I'm surprised we don't see Bastion in this meta.
and you put
honestly,
Moira in
but
there. You have
I
the
guess Bastion-
MMM, you have the Malga, Moira, and
Moira's
Morbius
terrible
combo.
with Malga, though.
And Morbius. So that's the three. That's the three M's.
I think Moira is like a
Sorry, May is the third one.
This hero, right? Like I would never play Moira.
I mean, I think the meta is still being figured out. So,
You
but I do
for
think
sure
that Mal
want,
guys.
you for sure want some sort of damage amping support with this hero, like either maybe Bap, but probably Kiriko. Ana could work. Ana's not that good right now, but I could see Ana being good with this hero. But Moira's, you don't 5-stack on Malga unless you're playing a Bastion comp, but then you just play Bap. So, weirdly, I think Moira is not going to be relevant when this hero, because like the DPS output is so extreme, you don't have the single target heals to deal with that on Moira compared to something like Kiriko, who is much happier with single target healing.
Yeah,
Jake consulted on these patch notes. That's why there's no Moira nerf here.
I mean,
I'm not a Moira fan by any means. I just think, I don't know. It'd be sad if we got a Malga Mirror meta. I feel like any sort of hard mirroring meta would be kind of sad right now. With the meta before, where it felt like the meta was leaning towards like Doomfist Full Dive, that comp is so hard to play that it just will never dominate the game in like ranked, especially just because it's just too hard to execute. But this comp is easy enough to execute, where especially Malga in general, easy enough to execute where it can dominate like medium high rank, which is I think that's the biggest problem.
Mirrors are boring, but Malga mirrors is the absolute worst. Like this, like I'll Doom Dive mirror, I'll take it. Winston mirrors, whatever. I'll even take a Ram or an Orisa mirror, and that's pretty bad. Like I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel
That's
with
pretty
that. I'm really scraping the
Orisa
bottom of the
mirror?
barrel.
No. This is better
Okay,
than
fine.
Orisa mirror. I'm
Orisa
sorry.
mirror is
man.
No
terrible.
way.
At least this hero
mirror.
has tracking and he like runs in. I don't know. I guess
Okay,
Orisa.
you know
does
what?
cool
You know
stuff
what?
too,
Meet in the
kinda.
middle. They're both as bad as each other. Okay, they belong
I just,
together.
from a DPS player perspective, Orisa's just like the most heinous hero to deal with. You just like can't fight it. It's just a god. Malga, at least you can kind of punish him. You know, like he does die if he's down his skill and he's not life stealing. He does die.
yeah.
And then he just runs away with his unstoppable charge. You're like, well, can't chase that.
Yeah, but I mean that's okay. It's okay. You clear the map, take the objective. You know, little by little.
Did you guys know he can crit
after the
on the stomp?
matches
Sorry.
yesterday, I did message a professional tank player to ask for their opinion on tank, and they responded, "I think he's really broken. I don't know, better than he was in team play when everyone said he was OP last season." So that just gives you some perspective of where we're at with Malga when pro tank players say that Malga is better now in team play than Malga was in season 9.
The shorter cooldown
or
is a
season
huge
8.
deal. The shorter cooldown is a very big deal. Like people underestimate how much it matters to have faster CD, like more flexible CDs, like bigger, powerful CDs that are like do more but aren't as long on cooldown are much worse than just you can pop it and cycle it more often in less downtime. Those changes are almost always huge buffs, and more than most people I think generally realize that those are really huge buffs.
If Malga's going to pop off, who's going to be the best Malga? It's got the best tracking.
Literally anybody with the brain.
Currently Hawk, probably.
It's not going to be. It's not going to be a hero people differentiate themselves on. Unfortunately, that's the problem with it. Is
that is the issue with this hero. Is like you just there's what
you're not
going to
carry
expression?
the game. You're not going to. Neither tank can carry the game. Yeah. It's a little rough. I think. I wish. I don't know what they could really change about the hero to make it better. They need to like
no green health. Just get rid of that shit straight away.
No, but that would just
number one.
nerf. You could just nerf it to the ground. That's fine. But I mean like a sort of a more fundamental change that adds more skill
rework
to it.
A rework is what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if you could accomplish it. I think one thing to be interesting is like more heavily incentivizing not shooting both your guns at once. I think that's like you just become like a weird Reaper. You know, that's like.
I can tell you, I got the
part.
answer. Make his second gun different. This is the problem I have. I'm not gonna go. I promised I wouldn't go into the Malga rant, but here we are again, fellas.
Make his,
Here we are
the
again.
one that crits on burning people. You change that one, or the one that
either one. It doesn't matter. Choose one. Flip a coin and choose one of the guns that has to go, and replace it with like a different gun that has a different. It can be a machine gun,
that's
but it's
not
got a different mechanic.
identical.
So it's not identical. So they're not both basically the same gun. And there you have different uses for each gun, and you have to actually decide when to use each gun in a more strategic way than this one lights on fire and this one crits when the other one lights something on fire. Like that's, I'm sorry.
I feel like you could just nerf the accuracy of firing. I know firing both at once has like lower accuracy, but I feel like you could nerf that even further so that you really only do that when you're like right on top of somebody, and then I'm fine with like, okay, this hero melts you when he gets on top of you. Okay, whatever, that's fine. He can be a strong hero at doing that, but then it feels now that he's just a little bit too much using both guns. Like, I don't mind if it was more like, okay, ignite that guy and now crit that guy, ignite this guy, crit this guy. Then there's like an interesting gameplay loop there where people can like, oh, once they get ignited, now they need to hide. But before they're ignited, they could fight. You know, I think there's something interesting about that. But I don't love that. If you're just hard pressing both guns on the other tank, I guess that's part of the problem in the mirror is that like you both just shoot each other with full power, close range, and then it's like you're just hoping it's like up to your teammates to differentiate the fight. That's a little weird for me. I do like playing against Malga because I like playing Echo, and Echo copying Malga is perhaps one of the best copies in the game because
You like playing
you just
Echo, so
fight
you get
the
to play
other
Malga as
Malga
a
with all
damage
your
player.
cooldowns right away.
Instant cage fight.
Oh my god.
When I copy Malga, I just fight him because once you press that skill, you're not gonna die. Like,
yeah,
if you're
don't you see
lifestealing on
the
other
inherent
Malga.
problem though in that you as a damage player, you're excited about getting to play Malga?
I get to be Malga, yeah. Also,
It's
like
my
playing Echo
game
because
now.
Echo is like one of the only DPS where it feels like you can actually just burn down the Malga over time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to me that Soldier and Tracer is so strong with it because I guess it's the Soj is like suppressing the Echo, and Tracer. It's just too greedy to play both Echo and.
I mean, you press Cardiac Overdrive, and the Tracer and the Soldiers they heal, and you know your whole team just heals. So
good, actually, I guess Echo
DPS
doesn't
healing
get the
itself is
heal
insane.
naturally, which kind of hurts. Or Tracer getting like those little ground heroes getting the heal is a big deal. I like playing Soja and Tracer though, so you know what? I'm not too upset.
There's just limited design space.
In ranked, I'll
when
probably still play Echo.
when the guy has too many guns, there's limited design space, and Blizzard trapped themselves with this design because he's too low accurate, and he's based on a PVE heavy tank, and when you make an entire hero off a PVE enemy like boss, that's the issue. It's like, well, where's your design? You know, where's your design room here? There's
I
no.
feel
It's like
this,
there's too
this
many
hero
guns in that set.
can still be more interesting without a fundamental rework. Like for me, I think if you just it's
Give
when
him
you're using
Pigpen.
both guns at the same time that it's a problem. But if it's like if you're constantly doing like left right, I kind of think that is pretty interesting. Like you make decisions about prioritizing certain types of damage or like who you're gonna shoot and things like that. It's the firing both guns at once, standing point blank, where he becomes this like kind of silly hero. So I mean, I feel like you could, without completely eradicating that, or without truly what you would call like a rework, you could probably make this hero much more interesting by just changing some of that. I don't love that the charge is like so clunky is the wrong word, but it's just like,
I was just thinking that it doesn't feel like an Overwatch ability. It doesn't
yeah,
feel
it feels
polished.
like you're like on
Steers
rails,
real
you know.
weird.
Even where like I guess it's kind of like Rhine pin, which I also don't like.
Sure, but Ryan Pin, I think even
Hold
is
up, Reinforced
more
got an opinion
responsive.
here.
It feels
Yeah,
nice.
I'm curious because that's why when I played Malga, I was like, "Whoa, this feels so weird." Even more weird than like obviously I don't play much Rhine, but the Rhine pin feels more interesting. I guess the Rhine pin you're also really trying to like you're trying to like get somebody, whereas the Malga Overrun is like, yeah, whatever, just go for it.
No, it's a weird ability. It feels weird. It feels weird to use. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do want to move on here, though, unless we want to spend more time on Malga. It seems to be an issue, though. So if you're watching OWCS this weekend, be ready.
I mean, if
'cause
it's
there might be
hardcore being one tricked, I'm sure they'll do some kind of changes.
Yeah,
which I think
it's just
it might
likely
be
that
getting hardcore
we'll
one-tricked.
see. I mean, yeah, the devs are probably super tired of Malga meta themselves, and they realize that it's somewhat of a problem. But it's looking very likely, based on these patch notes, that we'll be getting this patch for the OWCS Stage 1 playoffs, which is next weekend, right?
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
it's going to determine circuit points and whatnot for other teams. So, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I mean, I think there's still room to beat it. For me, I think heroes like Sigma had kind of like a good matchup here. But the problem is the meta is so fast right now with everyone playing Lucio. It's maybe hard to see something like that being super strong. I think D.Va has a good matchup too, but again, just doesn't seem like a great fit with like the other strong heroes in the meta, and with how good Lucio is, it's kind of a problem for her. Yeah, I don't know. I think in fairness to the devs, I think Malga was like bottom of the barrel. Maybe not like Ryan was probably worse than
Good.
Malga last
Yeah,
patch,
actually.
but like it was probably like bottom 3 tanks. And so I think in that perspective, like a big buff is warranted. In the same way that like Sim was like the worst hero in the game, and then she gets a very like probably one of the biggest buffs I've ever seen in a patch, in this patch, which I guess we'll get to later. But it's like, okay, that's kind of warranted from this hero being absolute dumpster tier, unplayable. Then I mean, Malga wasn't that bad, but maybe I think they just didn't. I think some of the mechanics, honestly, maybe one mechanic I'd love to see changes. You get the Malga passive when you like run through his ability, and then it like stays on you, right? Like the lifesteal and stuff. You don't even have to stay. You just like touch it as Tracer, and you just keep it, right? Which I think that is kind of heinous. Like it should be like a Lucio aura. You like lose it very quickly if you leave it. You should have to stay next to Malga to like keep this passive on. Because giving Tracer a lifesteal passive that just lasts for like you're just like ignoring it. You don't even have to think about it in the fight. You know what I mean? Like you just grab this buff and then you're like not you just move on and live your life, and you're lifestealing now and you're just like unkillable. I feel like that's especially heroes like Tracer and Sojourn, who like honestly those heroes are pretty much unkillable with a lifesteal on. And I think that's a little OP for me, or just like not interesting. Like if it was like you have to stay next to Malga, then okay, you might be playing heroes like Bastion that can actually do that, or Reaper, whatever, but then you're making your comp very one-dimensional, and so it's going to be vulnerable, even more vulnerable to stuff like Sigma and like other counter picks. But I don't know that that's really true if you don't have to stay next to Malga. Like Malga's kind of on his own frontlining, everyone else spreading around the map, and now you're like playing Rush and you're taking the map control. Feels a little bit too strong.
All right, moving on. I'm going to clump up the 4 next tank heroes, the changes together, and then we can see if there's anything that stands out. Starting out with the Orisa, the Terra Surge is getting a slight change. Charge rate for the first 2.5 seconds increased by 25%. Don't hate that, to be honest.
This is massive.
Ramadra.
Those are the seconds that matter.
Sees a
like,
buff
ain't
here
no one
as
staying
well.
for 3 seconds.
With the Ravenous Vortex, total damage increase from 45 to 70, cooldown decrease from 12 to 11 seconds, so a buff for Amatra as well. Reinhardt, armor increased from 275 to 300. Sorry, I don't know why my voice just peaked there. I said Reinhardt.
Oh, I know why.
Fire strike
Can anyone
damage
know? Possibly.
increased from 100 to 120, and Roadhog is getting a change as well. Chain hook the enemy final position distance from Roadhog after being pulled decreased from 4 to 3 meters, and Pigpen vertical knockback on activation decreased by 43%. So Legday, I'm gonna go to you first.
Yeah,
Is
can we get-
Reinhardt a bottom 3 tank?
Is Ryan a bottom 3 tank? Bro don't have a gun.
Oh.
Homer's getting ran for his foams every single game, man.
Is it Jover? Cloudy said we're back on Twitter. Cloudy said we're back.
Cloudy
so.
is the most copium source of
Yeah.
all time when it comes to Ryan. No,
He's
I
our
love
leader.
nothing but respect for the man, but
He's our fearless leader.
of course
My
he's gonna.
question
Of
is,
course he's
like,
gonna believe.
does this Fire Strike buff like hit a break point here when you combine it with his swing? It seems like you can't 2-tap with Fire Strike because that would need 125,
I mean,
right?
I don't think that even matters. Like,
Not
you're
really.
not two fire striking somebody. I mean, not realistically.
No,
like,
I mean,
Take
you
out
get
that
lucky
win
once in
over
a
across the
while.
map, man.
maybe with
This is
Amp
like a
Matrix, you can
ability
double
that-
Fire Strike and Amp Matrix.
Yeah,
There you
like with the amp. Yeah, there we go. Thanks for rescuing me from this analytical hole. You're not gonna
Yeah.
one tap with a double
but you're
damage.
still not one hitting with Amp Matrix, right? Like
Yeah,
what you used to.
No,
You're gonna
no.
have at least 10 HP left on most
Yeah,
heroes.
I'm kind of
unless you
surprised.
hit
I
a
feel like I
Tracer.
wouldn't have hated them doing 125 just to give that 2-shot / Amp Matrix one hit. I wouldn't hate that, honestly.
Yeah, come on now. We
Yeah.
want the Pokbo throwback where Pokbo got like a 5k with Fire Strike or something. You know, that's what we
Oh,
want as Reinhardt players.
The first
Wasn't
reveal.
there like a
What-
meta where people
what-
played like Ryan Orisa and like Fire Strike window the pole and
That
like
sounds
just one hit the
ridiculous.
whole
There's no
team?
way.
I remember
See,
that. Or
Cloudy hasn't played against enough
Crazy.
Malga yet. Once he plays against enough Malga, people are like, okay, Ryan is not back. Ryan is definitely not
yeah,
back.
Malga
Unfortunately.
also just murders this hero, so it's kind of a problem.
Yeah, that's a bit of a
Yeah,
problem.
gets in close, you just use both
You
guns.
just melt his shield and keep melting his hero as well.
He's using both guns, and I don't even have one gun.
Yeah,
That's been my experience.
Bro's at a 2-gun deficit against Malga.
All right, well, like the Orisa then. I'll tee you up Orisa then. What about the Terra Surge change? You excited about the Terra Surge change?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's an okay buff. Like to take us back to Doomfist as well. We're buffing like the shit tank ultimates. That was a terrible bleep. not on target at all. 0% bleep accuracy. Yeah, like no one's staying in that thing for 3 seconds, so you might as well see if you can get some kill potential in the first 2.5. Honestly, I want to rant about Ramatra's Ravenous Vortex for one sentence.
Go for it.
Just-
Go off.
Can we update the vertical hitbox? When they were advertising this guy, it was like, oh, take flyers out of the air. It's got a vertical hitbox of like 7 meters. It ain't taking shit out of the air.
Yeah, there's people who like fall off a cliff sometimes. You're just like, oh, there was a vortex under me. But
Yeah,
you know,
there were some wild ones. I got a kill on a Hammond the other day on well when he was just rolling through the team and he got sucked into a well by a Ravenous Vortex that was nowhere near. It was great.
but also I'm sorry, buffing vortex like.
This is a
am I
powerful
the only?
ability. This is a very powerful.
It's a
ability,
crazy good
underrated.
ability.
It's like a very. It's like I think decreasing the cooldown is a huge buff, and this is almost doubling the damage. Is pretty big. I mean, this ability is definitely underrated from the perspective of like it's a zone, it's a choke controlling ability, right? That's what Ramatra is the best at in general, is like holding down chokes and cycling shield and vortex to like deny your push, and then his like three cooldowns, right? So he's got like 3 ways to continue to hold the space, which is pretty powerful. I think this is a cool change. I think this is the right ability to buff on the hero that is like not annoying and has like counter. You can avoid it. It's like counterplay interesting. Yeah, I don't mind this change, honestly. I think Ram was already kind of good for me though, which is why it's a
Exactly.
little
yeah,
weird.
it was
Ram was.
pretty good.
But like a lot of these changes, I was like, that doesn't. Why are you buffing Doomfist? Why are you buffing Ramatra? Why are we buffing Orisa? All these heroes look good to me before any changes. I get why Ryan and Malga get buffed, and maybe they overdid it with the Malga, but I didn't. There's like no nerfs in this patch, which I think is weird. Like there should probably. I feel like there's like a couple heroes that kind of stick
The
out.
DPS nerf, the
Lucio,
general DPS
okay,
nerf.
yeah, that nerf though. I honestly, all right, I'm DPS build as hell here, so you know whatever. You can. I'm biased or whatever, but it's a mistake. They shouldn't do that. The DPS passive is not just about DPS being good. It is good for the game that people die for their heals. It's actually very, very important that you're even more incentivized to like stop taking damage, get into the cover and stop taking damage so that I can heal you up properly. Like this is this is kind of out of left field, but in TF2,
Go for it. Go off, King.
In TF2, there's a mechanic that was just like unexplained in the game, as the games are those days.
Crit
where, like,
healing.
crit heals, yeah. So basically, if you don't take any damage for like, I want to say it's like 5 seconds or 4 seconds, you get like 50% more heals, and then it's another same amount of time again, and you get like 100% more heals from the medic, which is huge. I mean, you're like getting double the HPS. So it was a huge deal in competitive professional play to like, if you're super low and you're not like a high priority hero, then you need to like stop taking damage for a pretty extended period of time so that your overall team's healing efficiency is much, much higher. Like you need to take 0 damage. It was like the same mechanic. If you take any damage at all for a duration from any hero, because obviously that game didn't have rolls, you get like much less healing. So tanking people with heals through the oncoming damage is super difficult versus people hiding. You can heal them up super quick to full and get them like overhealed. And then overall, your healing rate is going to be way, way higher if your teammates are cycling their crit heals. So you guys go fight. I'm low. I'm hiding. Either I'm grabbing a health pack, or I'm getting, and I'm getting my crit heals ready, or both, ideally. And then my medic can heal me for like 1 second, and I'm back to full. I'm ready to fight. I feel like that there's like a central gameplay mechanic there that is actually super interesting, forcing people to hide, and so you're not like perma 24/7 engaging. And I think that is actually really important and interesting and fun. And it's not just about whether DPS are strong. Like, honestly, I think you could give this passage to every hero in the game. Like, I don't think that it needs, I mean, the fact that it's on DPS is whatever, but I think like you could have this just be a default thing in the game where like anybody who takes damage at all from anything gets less healing for a duration of time.
And by the way,
I just think it's a good mechanic for the game, and you shouldn't. I think the last patch was like the most fun I've had playing Overwatch in a long time. I'm scared the more they nerf this hero, or the more they nerf the passive, the more they bring it back to pre this patch, which I think is a mistake.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is as well, it's like, I understand that tank is having a bit of a hard time, but I always felt that if you want to help tanks out, you can do that by reducing the amount of negative healing they get, or just call that, specifically for tanks, but not for the rest of the heroes. Like, we already have the tank passive that reduces CC. That can reduce the healing debuff by like from 20 to 15 or 20 to 17.5 or something like that.
Don't you think tank healing is the biggest problem though?
I think healing generally is the biggest problem, but I do agree with the devs and the play base in some way, where like tanks probably felt like it was fucking them the hardest. Although I also maybe have an alternate opinion where if the game was allowed to go on a little bit longer with negative 20% healing, players would probably get used to it and figure out how to play around it, which is actually probably where we should be going, rather than be heavy-handed too early with the mid-season patch. Like, we're barely how many weeks past the 20% healing, and we're already like reducing that down to 15. Now the TF2 thing is like super valid, because I brought this up previously. The TF2 heads in Plat Chat viewing and listening will remember, but it's like TF2 is a game that has very similar time to kill and very similar HP, in my opinion. Like 200 HP is the normal HP in TF2, and the time to kill, in my opinion, is fairly similar. I don't know if Jake agrees with that. And the healing in TF2 is limited. I mean,
there's some differences because you get like juggled in TF2, which is a huge deal. So you damage snowballs into more damage.
The healing is capped at 24 HP per second in combat, and then crit heals is 72 HP per second, 3 times out of combat. And out of combat, by the way,
I believe there's 2 stages
10
of crit
seconds.
Heals,
it ramps up. It ramps up between 24 to 72, and it's 10 seconds to 15 seconds is the window where you need to be out of combat. So 10 seconds, guys, it's fucking ages. You have to be really out of combat to get crit heals. But the point about bringing up TF2 was TF2 recognized that pocket healing is dog shit to play against. So that's why in-game, in combat, pocket healing is only with 24 HP per second on average of 200 HP being the default HP. Think about that versus how high the healing is in Overwatch.
For those of us who are more like COD pilled growing up than TF2 pilled, how big is a TF2 team in competitive in terms of number of players?
6v6.
Okay, cool.
Well, there was 9v9 too with all the different.
6v6 is really the normal.
6v6 was like the high level competitive, but honestly, I mean, Highlander was pretty popular too, so I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about like how like the relay mechanic of taking a fight.
The biggest thing to know is that you are hard capped at one medic in competitive play. Because medic is just super broken.
One medic and
would be the best
one medic and only 24 HP per second. Think about that.
Yeah,
that's a very minimal healing.
How big's for health pool?
Well, like a soldier has 200, a scout's 125. Demo
heavy is
75.
Heavy is 300. So
yeah. And then you could get overhealed to plus 50% of your max health. That decays. So it doesn't last forever.
Which is a really good mechanic, by the way.
Yeah, which I think is cool. But also, I don't think it fits in Overwatch too much healing.
Probably not.
But I do, and the ult charge and things like that. But I think for me the biggest problem with the whole with like minimizing these changes is I feel like they're just 20% is not that much. I think that's the biggest thing. Is like 20% is not that much. People think I like this is so big and like, oh, we should revert this because tanks are getting owned. I think number one, I think people just need to play more. And honestly, if you think it's too OP on DPS, give it to every hero. Like I genuinely think give it to every hero is fine. I don't think that the fact that DPS do it is like that big of a deal.
Only 2 seconds. Only 2 seconds.
Exactly. It's 2 seconds out of combat. You just have to learn to like like number one, health packs matter more as a resource, which actually I think is really good for the game when like health packs on the map matter more. It's like it's an interesting mechanic. There's like more positional objectives on the map than just the real objective, which adds this dynamic nature to the game where, you know, yes, you want to control the payload or the point, but in order to do that, you might want to control some health packs that like enable you to control the important spots. And I think that's actually just a really healthy dynamic for the game. I think also not being able to fight 24/7 through heals or like getting healed through oncoming damage is actually really good. Like if you can just tank incoming damage and not care because you're getting more heals than the oncoming damage, like you're just getting tickled by the oncoming damage, you don't care. It's just like I feel like that's just a bad mechanic. It means the game is about killing supports, which is how the game was for about a year before this patch. It was like, okay, we're gonna play Tracer and Sojourn. You know why? Because they one hit you. That's the reason why. They one hit you. They one hit you and they're hard to kill. That's the only reason why those heroes became meta and were dominant for. I mean, Sojourn's been pretty much dominant since she came out in Overwatch 2 as like probably the best, most flexible hit scan all around. I mean, obviously other heroes, you know, have their strong positions and places to be played, but Sojourn I think it's fair to say is the most flexible and strongest hit scan since Overwatch 2, and Tracer been the best DPS hero since the game came out. Let's be honest, by a lot. Like there's like no one else who's competitive for that title, for in DPS at least. And I think it's because they are really hard to kill and they one shot you. And like that's what the game is before this fundamental change to the game, where everyone has more HP and it's much harder to one shot. And you know, like, and also the DPS passive, you can't heal through oncoming damage. Like you're gonna make the game more. You just push the game back in the direction of waiting for your one shot heroes to get one shots. And I think the game is much more fun when it's a tug of war between resource control. I think like resource trade. So it's like, oh, can you do damage efficiently with your health? It's not just how much damage can you output because the heal and how much raw heals can my DP my sports spam across the map. Like trying to get the biggest numbers possible is not that interesting. I think it's much more interesting when it's a tug of war and every trade is like, well, I'm paying this. Here's the things I'm expending for this trade, but I'm doing this much impact. And so it's like a worthwhile trade. Like that is, I think, what makes Overwatch fun and unique is actually that aspect of the game that's a resource game. And it's about knowing who's winning the trade. And if you're falling behind, can you kind of like come back to a pack or find a way to reset or maybe take a little break from the fight and then re-engage, like, or maybe you need an ultimate, right? There's all these other things that come up. But when the sustain is more powerful than oncoming damage, your game is about killing supports. You can't kill anybody until the support dies. And I think that's not that interesting as a game.
I'd be willing to concede one area, which is to say that, like, I think maybe having the DPS pass would be more like deal a minimum amount of damage, like 20 damage, and then it applies rather than like 1 damage and it applies. Sure. Because then, like, you know, a Tracer hard spamming across the map, tickling you for 1 damage, debuffs you. I think that's kind of lame. So I'd be willing to concede on that front.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
By the way, it's not even that, okay, the DPS passive went from 20 to 15. It's also they're buffing tanks in terms of like their armor, their HP, giving them like green HP on abilities and stuff now. And then you're starting to slowly see supports getting some buffs and healing as well. Anna just got one. You could argue that she needed one. Self-healing, fine. But now, like, the nade just overall heals more. Like,
the nade damage is crazy.
And that, by the way, is like, okay, it's one change.
So I think she's kind of okay to get buffed.
And that's fine. And I get it. She's not a very good hero at the moment. But what I'm saying is, it's now opening the door to, like, well, what other supports need help? Do we just start buffing more supports? Like, I'm just saying it's going down the pathway of I can see them being like, okay, now let's start.
Wait, did they buff any supports in this patch besides Ana?
Lifeweaver got a maximum heal increase, but
that buff is I mean, it's fine, but it's like a micro.
But
the HPS is like
one frame better.
Guys, it's the beginning of the slippery slope of them buffing.
I don't know if I agree with the slippery slope take here. I feel like they did not really buff healing output. I mean, like
Brig got a buff. Brig got a buff as well.
Okay, Brig did get a buff. Brig was also one of the worst supports in the game, I think, this patch after playing it for a while. So I'm kind of okay with that. Maybe the Brig buff is the most questionable. I think the Ana nade change is, for me, it's like fine because it's like keeping her commensurate with the HP or flat HP increases. I'm not worried about flat HP on a like a long, like 30 HP every 12 seconds. That's the change. I mean, that's kind of nothing for me. It's like if they change the multiplier on nade, I'd be very worried. You know, stuff like that I think is like super scary, where it snowballs into more. Or like, you know, like Ana can shoot faster. You know, there's things that like change your healing throughput significantly. It matters a lot. If anything, I feel like the nade is like more likely to be used on enemies after this change, less likely to be used to heal. Because I think 30 damage is better than 30 healing generally. But so for me, like, I don't know, maybe the Brig one is the most worrisome from like a heals throughput. I think it's the DPS passive and the tanks that are like, I don't think the devs have shown that they're like, oh, I'm glad at least that they were thinking in perspective of like, okay, Malga and like Roadhog are just getting dominated from getting spammed 24/7, and so we're gonna buff these heroes versus making they didn't seem like they're trying to bring back an era of like supports out healing the oncoming damage.
They buffed the tanks and nerfed the DPS passive. I just think they did both levers.
Yeah, I don't like the DPS passive nerf. I'm okay with
like
everything except that.
One lever should have been pulled, not both, is my position.
Yeah.
I totally would be like less into the slippery slope if they'd like nerfed Moira or another support as well to like say they were like bringing up the bottom supports and like keeping the top ones kind of in sync with them, but not putting any support nerfs in there makes it feel like we might see these incremental buffs. Like Life was getting so many buffs to a point where he's putting like 14k healing per 10 because he was just so bad that like in low ranks he was stealthily becoming an absolute monster of healing. I do hope that the DPS passive goes back up though, because I do think that kind of innovation on the gameplay loop is going to be something that would be real good to see Overwatch step into. And you guys last week were talking about how like younger and newer players like look at the game in a different way, and I think that we might see some like proper style renaissance of like the next big Overwatch player coming out who understands the game better and how to play around these kind of debuff healing mechanics, or how to like structure a team fight around them better.
Yeah, the Overwatch 3 tweet. Someone tweeted out, it's like, this is Overwatch 3, guys.
I like that take actually, because I think this change is like bigger than 5v5. Like in terms of how it actually changes how you play the game, I think it's unironically same level of impact. Well, on top of not just the DPS passive, but the HP increase and the projectile increase size, and so like consistency of damage, more HP, and DPS passive. I think that patch, like the start of the season 9 patch, is unironically about as much impact as taking away a tank in terms of how much it changes how you play the game. And I think it's for the best, honestly. I think it's like a really cool change, like that has actually added so much to the game, because in a way, like taking something away can be like more scarcity to the game. I think it is actually makes the game much more fun and interesting. The less scarcity you have of stuff like resources, the more you rely on one hitting, because it's like you don't win the tug of war by out pressuring the enemy. You win by eliminating one player, and now you're going to win the tug of war. But I think the more the game is about, you like, not necessarily you lost an actual hero. Like when somebody's dead, okay, sure, you're like super far ahead in the team fight. If you get first pick, you're going to win like 80% of the fights or something. It's like a hugely favored thing if you don't get instantly responded to with counter picks. But the actual HP tug of war, needing to do things like, you recognize that your team is low and that you can't get healed right now because somebody else needs it more. Like the tank is fighting and the support has to just spam heal them because they're gonna die. Then you as a DPS player, you get low, you need to go grab a pack. Like you can't, or you need to go hide and get the passive. Like you literally cannot get healed from your support right now because they are too busy. That is like important for the game. The less that happens and the more the support is like, everybody is full all the time. I can do like, I just don't even have to care that much about healing because I have so much of it. It's not that big of a deal. I think that's not good for the game. I think that's
plenty.
You're also seeing, by the way, just like this is just the description of the general Overwatch player base. This is kind of across the board. Is that people are very resistant to change, and like they won't even give it half a season. And it's like, yeah, Blizzard needs to nerf this, and Blizzard comes down with a very quick nerf. It's like, this is the same thing when we went from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2. People just like, they're so used to playing one way that once they're forced to play another way, they just totally reject it. And it's like, people in this game are way too resistant to change, and they need to be a lot more open-minded about like, okay, well, the game has changed. I need to adapt how I play the game versus just straight up complaining about it, knee-jerking straight away, which is where like I think 90% of the audience is.
So where do we think like the culture of the game changes? Does that come from like having a specific com, maybe from watching higher ranked streamers like Jake or Dante? Like, is there going to be like a specific com?
No, I think
Actually, most of our audience doesn't watch streamers. Let's be honest. The Twitch category is abysmally low compared to other games. They don't engage with competitive content. They don't watch streamers. They're just casual gamers. That's all it is. And I'm not like trying to shit on them. It's just like, that's just the reality.
Yeah, I think it's just like, you know, I don't think you can actually ask people to like change their perspective or like think differently about the game. You know, that's just people are gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna follow the path of least resistance. which might be the complaint in some cases, rather than like I don't know, like you said, adjust and try to grow or change with the times. And I think to me, my perspective is like, yes, I agree. I think some heroes got overly hit by this DPS passive change. Like heroes with shields or like core damage blocking abilities that like block them from actually taking HP damage were just inherently buffed from this change versus the heroes like Malga and Roadhog who are like gonna take the damage. They're just gonna heal on their own hero rather than block the damage with a shield. It's like, okay, I agree that it's not really fair to those heroes or necessarily, I don't think it's a good gameplay change to be like, yeah, we're just buffing the heroes with shields and nerfing the heroes without shields for tank. Like that I don't love. But I do think I would rather have seen like I don't mind the hog buff and the Malga buff, like heroes or even Orisa, like heroes that just are gonna take more HP damage and more vulnerable DPS passive. I like buffing those heroes, but I don't like nerfing this DPS passive. I think it's actually the game has been best it's ever been in a long time, and I just think it's dangerous to which mess with, for me, the core aspects of the patch, which are like the projectile size, the HP, and the DPS passive. Those are the things I want to have more time to breathe.
We got to send Aaron an email from Plat Chat. Dear Aaron, please undo DPS passive nerfs. Thank you. From Plat Chat.
We'll feature an eggplant with that package.
I don't hate the idea though of like, okay, you can't deal. It has to be like more than 10 damage or something to turn the passive on. Yeah, I don't think it matters all that much. But there's probably some edge cases that are like stupid and annoying for Tracer to tickle you across the map. Realistically, I don't think that's happening all that much, or it's like doesn't make it good on Tracer to be a mile away from somebody tickling them. That's just like it's like still not a strong play. You should just try to kill stuff. It's still 10 times better. But sure. I think for certain edge cases, that's a fine type of a change where it's like, okay, maybe you shouldn't get this passive so easily applied, but when it does go on you, you are just like fighting there, standing there, taking damage, trading with the enemy tank. You should get that should cost a lot. You know what I mean? Your resources as a team should be very strained from you like frontal tanking a million DPS. That should be expensive. Not impossible, but it should be expensive, and it should mean that you lose resources on other roles. Okay, because my Malga's tanking like this, we have very few resources. I can't heal you on Tracer and Sojourn. You need to get packs or get the passive regen because we're using all of our resources in this spot right now. I think that makes the game much more interesting than the alternative where it's like supports have everybody full healed, and then so it's like we don't even need to heal that much because everyone's full healed. I'm gonna go start dealing my own damage now.
Here's a question for you about this this approach. Do you think it would be interesting for the game, or at least in the DPS tool, to incentivize health pack use by having it not affected by the DPS passive? I
don't think it matters.
That territory control.
99% of the time you get a health pack, you're not going to be having the passive on you. Because if you're grabbing the health pack during a fight, like sure, but I just think it's pretty marginal. Like if you're getting a mega pack, you're getting full HP anyway. It doesn't even really matter. If you're getting pills, I guess if you're like fighting and you could eat the pills, like while that you're like a Tracer duel eating the pills, it's gonna matter. But it's so rare. I think the health packs are such a big, powerful swing anyway. It's usually more than you need. You're usually out of combat getting them. But in the end, stuff like that is like kind of cool to play with, but I think would be marginal in the end.
With the rabbit hole here of health packs, though, like if we entered into a meta where, like, say the DPS passive is like 30%, like it's a crazy nerf to healing, and it forces you to take these disengagements and kind of fight relays all the time. Does that indirectly buff someone like Sombra, who can try and take this territory control, force you to go further for these health packs, and maybe you end up in like a Sombra tug of war for health pack control?
I think we're getting too stuck on health packs. It comes down to disengaging. What it should incentivize is for players to like use better cover, disengage, select their fights better.
Yeah, and so in fairness, I think heroes that suck at doing that, like Roadhog and Malga, that just don't disengage, that like take damage on their face, should get buffs in this world. Like I don't think that those heroes should just be ruined forever because this passive exists. I just think the passive isn't the problem. It's the fact that you have no way of stopping the incoming damage, and you are not good at engaging, disengaging. You're like, those heroes don't disengage. That's not what they do. They go in, and then they go in even more and try and kill you all before they die. Which is fine for those heroes to exist, to be like an aggro hero that just plays that way. And maybe it needs buffs in a world where you're supposed to disengage, but you can't really do it easily. Okay, maybe you need a buff or some change or whatever. But yeah, I think it's dangerous to make these changes because you know, I don't know. And too many. I like the resources being scarce. I think the game is more fun with scarce resources, and you have to make decisions about how to allocate those resources. Versus the more excess resources you have, the more likely the game is about one-shotting each other, or popping ults, which also is like fine. But I think in general ults are just OP in Overwatch. That's all. This is how Overwatch is, which is like okay, it's like the nature of the game. But it's just like the more sustained there is in the meta, the more likely it is nobody's dying until you get ults off. The more likely it is no one's dying until one-shots come out. And the game just overly revolving around one-shots and ults versus a more balanced approach where ults and one-shots obviously are really good, but you can just win the tug of war by having better positioning and better skill usage and better focus fire as a team. You can just win the tug of war and take more map control from that. And the team that's losing the tug of war has to find some kind of way to stop the bleeding and make a stand at a certain spot where they can hold, you know?
I mean, I can say as an analyst, you know, it's very true what you're saying about waiting for the ultimates because, for example, like when I'm watching a match, and you know, this goes down to even color commentators as well. When color commentators are watching a match, a lot of the time, if there is some kind of like poke going on, there is a time where like someone is 80% to an ult, 90% to an ult, and as an analyst, you're just saying like, hey, they just need to build this ult, and then they'll build that ult. Whereas sometimes you see in these dry fights, for example, it's honestly tactically more interesting because you're putting more emphasis on how is the tracer matchup going, for example. There's no ultimates that is going to win this fight for a team. And so it's going to be more crucial that you win a tracer duel to get an additional off angle that is going to set you up to win this fight. And so it's very much true what you're saying that, you know, ultimates are so powerful these days that it does minimize some of the interesting tactics that go on in positioning and rotating and setting up a fight win condition when you're not just waiting for that ultimate to come online. So I think that's very true what you're saying, Jake. And you know, I as an analyst, I think it's a little bit unfortunate because especially, you know, it's at the start of season 9. There was some like really interesting scrims going on with a lot of interesting kind of like duels taking place, whether it was, you know, trying to get a pick onto someone or trying to get a nice angle for your team so you have positional advantage over the other team and trying to win fights that way. Where already now it does feel like we're kind of slowly going back to just like, hey, let's just build ults and then try to get value from the ult. And that's kind of like the main way for us to win this, rather than emphasizing individual matchups and rewarding mechanical skill and positioning in that regard. So do you guys want to move on to the support changes a little bit, or did you feel like
let's move on?
All right, let's move on. I do want to move to the support changes because it kind of goes hand in hand with the debate we were just having about the damage passive and the healing incoming, of course. So I'm just going to quickly skim over them. So we already talked about Biotic Grenade. The explosion damage and healing increased from 60 to 90. Baptiste got an immortality field change. The minimum health threshold decreased from 25 to 20%. We actually briefly touched on this last week, I think, with Jake here as well. The Brigade Repair Pack cooldown reduced from 6 to 5 seconds, and the rally cost reduced a little bit as well. Ilaria is getting some damage changes with the solar rifle. The primary fire recovery time reduced from 0.3 to 0.2, and the life weaver changes as well. You see the maximum heal amount increased from 70 to 80, and the maximum charge time increased from 1 to 1.15 seconds. So I guess the question here is covering all of these heroes a little bit, and you can dive into the specific changes if you'd like. But does this change kind of like the support power ranking? What supports are the strongest right now? Does Brigitte see significant playtime increase here, or do we still think that Lucio, Moira, are going to be Kiriko are going to be the primary picks moving forward?
I mean, I think Lucio is still giga busted, and the whole game revolves around him right now, which I think is the biggest like outlier in the support comp. Whereas like Moira and Kiriko, I honestly think aren't that crazy. It's just those are the heroes you play with Lucio. Like they're very good combos with Lucio. They fit really well. Same with Bap, honestly. Like, I don't mind the Bab nerf, whatever. It's kind of like bringing it back to where I think you probably have it's like 50 HP instead of, you know, more like coming off after the drone. Sure, whatever. I don't think that matters all that much. Makes it a little bit easier to counterplay lamp, a little bit more punishing. You have to get people healed up during the lamp, or they're gonna die anyway. Sure, I'm fine with everything. I just think I'm just more surprised not seeing a Lucio nerf, honestly. It's so good. It's like a permanent one trick. I mean, the game, Lucio was a permanent one trick for about 5 years, okay? It was fine when there were like 5 supports in the game because Lucio was the most interesting by far. So like having him be a permanent one trick meta for the first 3 years of the game being out was fine. It was cool. But honestly, now I don't love it. I kind of wish. I wish he was still good and still situational. There's going to be maps like Flashpoint and Koth where I feel like you'll never see Lucio out of the game. I mean, it's just always going to be relevant. But it's so good that it just dominates every map type. Like I would rather have a Lucio than a Brig on like high ground defense on Escort. You know, that's like the worst scenario for Lucio, and it still feels like a better hero.
I think aside from Lucio, like tanks to me dictate the support picks more at the moment. It's like if you're gonna play Doomfist, you're gonna play. If for example, if you want to play Winston, you're more likely to go towards like a Brigana, and you know you're starting to see a lot of the Lucio Kiriga. I mean, they work in tandem, but I feel like once you pick a certain tank, then you can sort of build around that. And so you play the Sigma, are you more likely to maybe play the double flex? It might bring in. You know, we had the Zen look with the Sigma, and even recently before the Zen nerf. So. With Malga, it's just gonna be you play what benefits the Malga, you play what's gonna work with this hero, and this is the meta we're heading into. So, I think
it does go both ways though. For me, like for
I
me,
felt it's always
tank
been
is
slightly more tank dictated.
Tank
than
is the
other way
most
around.
powerful role in general, so tank generally has more influence than the other roles. But like Tracer and Lucio, I think are the most dominant heroes right now. I don't think you'd even put a tank hero in the top in like an S tier for me. You know. Where for me it's as much the fact that like Malga is fits well with Tracer and Lucio as it is the other way around. So because I think I always felt that it all flows into each other at the highest level. Like it's not, and if the tank is super broken, then yeah, it'll like define you'll pick around the tank. But in the end, all the picks flow into each other. I think I only say this because people overrate how much people think the game is like. Everyone in Reddit is like, oh, well, I'm just getting counterpicked on tank, and you can't counterpick other roles. It's like, no, this is like deeply wrong. You counterpick every role, and you counterpick, and you pick around every role. Like every role fits into every other role. Tank just happens to be the highest impact role because the heroes are the strongest overall. Like you would play more tanks if you were allowed to, whereas I don't know that that's clearly true for DPS or support. For sure, you would play another tank at least, if not more, if you could. So you know, I think it's. Yeah, you're right that tank matters more, but I think like Lucio being so dominant is part of what makes these heroes good. You know, if like dive heroes are more dominant or more natural, I mean Lucio's played in dive, of course, but if stuff like Brig is more dominant, then you might see, you know, more dive styles being good, or just like the overall game state favoring certain styles. Lucio has a gun too, which is like a huge deal, and it matters more than almost any other support how you use your gun on Lucio. Like the fact that the overall projectile change, it like hugely helps Lucio the way he's played, versus most other supports, even stuff like Ana or whatever. The gun is not that important. You know, it's not really the reason you pick the hero. It's like the abilities and healing your teammates. But I mean, the gun in the sense of shooting enemies is those are the supports that are so strong right now. And so even the Brig buff is like, I don't know that this really changed anything. And what I don't like about the change is that in the end, it's buffing an aspect of the kit that is not. Like, I would rather, if they're going to buff Brig, I would rather they're buffing, like, Whip Shot that is, like, could be benefiting from these changes or could fit into a new style of the game where you're more aggressive and more focused on dealing damage and shutting down the enemy. Yeah, so I think, in the end, these changes are just, like, they're a little bit mistargeted. I don't mind the Ana one because I think it's, like, fine. Bring her back to where she was before with the nades impact relative to your HP pool. But yeah, the other changes don't seem that impactful to me. The Brig one is just like, in like 3 more patches, we're going to be regretting this Brig change. That's the problem. I don't think Brig's good, but I just think this is the type of change. It's like making Mei cleave. You know, it's like, why is this in the game? It's in the game because you thought it would do anything against goats, which is so deeply misguided. And so you never changed it.
Dude, Mei cleave is so fucking bad.
Which,
I would have liked to have
so
seen like a cooldown increase on amp or something.
Yeah, that would be a good change. Just
the
Speaking
ability
of-
to get those disengages is crazy.
Do you want to move on to the damage changes there?
Builder season, baby.
Oh god, here we go.
This is one of the biggest support or DPS buffs I've ever seen in a patch. The Sim buff is like crazy.
I
don't know if Sim's good though. I mean,
more HP
Sim
on
was
those turrets, baby.
so bad. I want to be clear. Sim was so unbelievably bad before this change. It might be warranted.
Let's jump to it, Solomon. Let's go to Symmetra right away. The photon
Look
projector,
how
the
big
primary
patch
fire.
is.
Damage per second increased from 60 to 65, scaling with each stage. The new maximum damage per second is 195. Sentry turret, health increased from 30 to 50. Damage per second increased from 25 to 30. And the teleporter, health increased from 50 to 100. And the teleporter shields increased from 150 to 200.
Dude, MIT dropped a new fucking material for her to make her stuff out of.
Yeah, new technology. We have the new technology, guys.
You can't
It's a new-
one tap
it's a
a
new
sentry
data kit.
turret as Zen anymore.
Yeah.
Is
That's like a lot
that
of
something a
heroes
little
being
bit
actually doing
later,
that.
or does this make Symmetra like good immediately, Jake?
No,
Because
I
like
don't
Symmetra's
think...
not good with the current like comps
That's what I
we're
mean.
seeing.
I
Right?
think Sim was so insanely bad that I don't think these changes really make her good. I think the problem, honestly, this is like sort of a problem same with Brig. It's just like the hero design is like flawed in some way that in order, like same for Lifeweaver, honestly, the designs are flawed in some way, like fundamentally. And so to make these heroes relevant at the highest level, which is I think the problem, like realistically, if you're in Plat or whatever and you're good at Sim, it's like fine. But I think the problem is the hero designs are just flawed. So when you make this global change to the game, the flawed heroes stick out like a sore thumb. Or like Lifeweaver, for instance, I think is like flawed overall. And so like you like on release, it's just absolutely garbage. And so it needs like 25 buffs to be good. And then it becomes a stats monster where it's like, oh, my support just has 300 health and like gets self regen and has 5 escapes because like it's so bad it needs that to be like okay because it just doesn't have impact on the game otherwise unless it's just ungodly hard to deal with. And stuff like the sentry turret change. It's just like, yeah, whatever. Like Sim is so bad, you make the sentry turrets really good. But like, is this really where what we're doing with the game? Where like it takes more than one shot to kill an aimbotting thing that slows you down? Is that what we want with the game? Like, I don't know. It's like it's so bad to me. Like that. Like this change of all the changes, I'm okay with the primary fire. It's like whatever. The Sim left click should be really powerful. If you get full energy, it should be super strong. Because it has so many weaknesses.
I don't know if this is a good take, but honestly, like imagine how frustrating this is for console players who have to like use their joystick to find the turrets and like spend significantly more time trying to kill Symmetra turrets now. Whereas like if you're playing Symmetra on console, you just like toss them out. You just toss them out on a wall. Like I don't know. This seems targeted at console players specifically. Am I misguided or?
I mean, Torb used to be a big problem on console, right? Does he have a different patch note for his turret? Because they had to nerf
Torb does
it.
less damage with his turret on console.
Yeah.
But I don't think it.
I just don't know why
That might be the
we
only
can't do
different patch
small nerfs, like why small buffs rather. Why can't we just do like small patches, especially for mid season? Like you have heroes that have like 3 different changes to like multiple different abilities. It's like, bro, it's insane. Like,
to be clear, Sim needed a large buff. I just hate that they buffed sentry turrets of all things. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm a fan of in the game is like, don't buff the stupid low skill annoying stuff in the kit.
You know what? I have
buff
a different
the
take.
interesting stuff.
I don't think she needed a big buff, and that I'm saying that acknowledging that she was bad, and that's
You just
because
think it's okay
I
for
think
her to be bad.
yes, correct. I think some heroes should just be bad. Genuinely, I think no, I'm not even joking. I think Blizzard trying to make every hero good is a completely misguided direction for the game. Why? Because it's impossible. You cannot make every single hero good. They will be bad.
It's okay
heroes.
to have some low skill heroes.
That
Heroes
is
that are
just the
capped in
reality
meta.
of balancing this game. Is that there are going to be shit heroes. I'm sorry, that's the truth. And the sooner Blizzard realize that's the truth, the better the game will be.
I don't want to live in a world where Symmetra is meta.
I mean, I think it kind of comes back to like, back in the day for like the first 2 years of the game being out, I like railed against this very hard for a long time, and eventually they got rid of it. But it took them a couple years where back in the day, if you were the best Torb in the world statistically, like you just did the most DPS on Torb, you would like the system is like thinks you need to be in top 100. So like back in the day, it was so tilting. You look at there's like a Torb player in top 30 and they have like a 48% win rate. I mean, that is heinous. If you're playing any other DPS that's actually good, you need like a 55 plus win rate to be at that rank. But they just thought, oh, you're the best Torb, so you're supposed to be in top 500 because the best Tracer and the best Torb are like equal in some fundamental way. And I think, I mean, it's sometimes I look at these changes, I'm like, yeah, like in terms of what you're saying, like letting heroes be bad or letting heroes kind of get skill capped at a certain rank. I think it should be fine. There should be some heroes that like, there should also be some heroes that are just that are hard. Like Tracer is probably never going to be that good below a certain rank, like in a way. Maybe Tracer's a bad example because like distracting people is still really good. But stuff like Genji is like just inherently high skill hero, headshot only heroes like Widowmaker, inherently high skill heroes that like are hard to be. They're never going to be that good for like a low rank player. It's better to play Torb if you're in bronze, like almost always. But the same should be true at the top, where certain heroes just cap out. For Sim, it's like I like Sim as a team play hero. I think that's what makes her interesting. And I think I like buffing the left click because actually buffing the left click is a team play buff because let's be honest, you're not actually left clicking anybody unless your whole team is helping you do it. Which I think is actually what, for me, that's the time Sim is a good hero or interesting, powerful hero is when you're TPing your teammates around. I think that's very interesting, unique, powerful, and actually super fun and high skill when you play with a team. And the left click, honestly, don't mind this buff because of the same thing. You're never going to get high energy left clicking Well, almost never, unless your whole team, like you're getting healed, you're getting Lucio speed, you're getting the shield in front of you to protect you, because you have so many drawbacks that limit you from doing that normally without help. I just hate the sentry turret buff. It's like,
Yeah,
the sentry turrets being hard to kill is one of the most obnoxious things of all time. Like,
if I was gonna buff Sim, I would have buffed like teleport deploy time.
yeah,
so that
yeah.
you could get on it faster and you could like make more interesting team moves that are really
Or like
good.
buff the range or the cooldown.
Yeah, like,
those,
just
I don't
something to
even
do
mind the
with
HP on the
TP.
teleporter. It's a little bit annoying, but whatever. Maybe it's like more consistent now and easier to execute. Sure. I just hate this. Goddamn.
Yeah, I think part of the
Such
reason
a
why
hater.
Overwatch 2, in my opinion, is better than Overwatch 1 is I spend less time shooting inconsequential shit, and now I'm gonna spend more time shooting inconsequential shit, which is the last thing I want to do.
Yeah, I think that's a. No one likes shooting the turrets, you know what? And it's fine for Sim, like that's her thing, is that she makes these like nests and it's annoying. But it's kind of like you need to surprise somebody and catch them off. And some heroes now are just not going to clear turrets, you know what I mean? Like you're just going to ignore that shit and move on and try and fight other stuff. And I don't like it. I don't like it. All the changes, it's like that one. You know, it's the same as, you know, stuff like the Malga thing, hitting everybody without you standing in the aura. It's just a little too easy to do and a little too good / annoying to deal with. I don't mind the hard high skill stuff being hard to deal with, like if the enemy uses it super well or efficiently. You know, even for the turrets, like what, you could buff the range on the turrets so that you can put them in more creative positions where they're more positionally difficult to deal with. So for me, that's like another way to buff turret that I'm not super annoyed by, because it's like, okay, it's like Sim has to sort of think about that and sort of position, and there's just more, she's more flexible in what she can do, but it's not just like I dump more stats on the field, which, yeah, I don't like.
You know
It's
what we
like
do need on
buffing the
Symmetra,
torp turret
at
HP
least?
is not what I want to see.
This is like super inconsequential, but you need to be able to look at one of your sim turrets and press interact to destroy it, so you don't automatically replace.
Yeah, you don't have to replace to break the oldest one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's honestly like. I mean, I don't think that changes much.
It's just
like,
a silly
from a balance
quality of
perspective,
life
but like
thing.
quality of life, I don't hate it, honestly.
yeah, that would be a nice.
Although there's
quality of
already
life
an
change for
interact
the
key on
Sims.
that hero, so they have to figure something else out.
That's true. We need more keys because that. Oh no, the control key is what they use for Wrecking Ball and Bullthorn, but that's crouch elsewhere. Just crouch at a turret to destroy it. That'll do. Send the signal. What else do we have in while Johnny's gone, what else do we have in our DPS changes? Torp turret does more damage. Is this
Was that
significant?
all? Was that the entire
No, there's a
patch? Patch no?
holy crap, that's an
cover everything?
enormous buff, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I didn't even see this
bro.
one. Wait, that's big. That's
This
really
thing's
big.
fragging.
That's 20. That's like 20% damage buff. In the end, the turret is not that strong, but this is a. I mean, these are
You
the
know
type
what's
of buffs.
bigger
It's
than
like
that?
buff the
You know what's-
Cheetos, bro. Buff the Cheetos. Headshotting people with the Cheetos is sick.
What's even stronger than the damage, I think, is the combination of the fact that there's a damage increase, but also they fixed the bug where turrets couldn't apply DPS passive, and now turrets do.
Oh, I thought that might have been a bug, or like, or if it didn't work, it was a bug.
So
I
it's
didn't
more
even know
damage,
it
and
worked
now
that
it
way.
applies passive. So
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
strong.
That
and
is
I
a big
think
buff,
Torb
man.
was
I don't think
Torb was
Torb's gonna be
secretly
good,
good
but
because I actually saw EU play a lot of Torb. I think it might have
Torb
just
was
been Bubo Spray
respectable
Check.
before this.
Spray Check legitimately played a lot of Torb in
Okay,
scrims
they're
and in
for sure
officials.
trolling if they're doing that.
So
Okay.
No, they like it. They really like it.
Question here: is there like a stealth effort from the devs to just like rein in Tracer without changing Tracer's kit? I thought this might have been the case with Junkrat last patch, where they updated his minimum damage to 55, so he could one nade and mine.
why do we need
Tracer.
a rein in Tracer? Like Tracer's one of those heroes where like when she's good, I think the game is genuinely helpful.
I do think
It's
Tracer
probably
was
culture.
too
And the other
OP.
thing is, and I
But
think
you
is,
don't need to buff the counters. Just nerf. I mean, she just did too much
I don't e-
damage.
I don't even know that she needs like that much of a nerf, if a nerf at all. I just think like high skill cap heroes should be good, especially when they play by good players.
Tracer
Like,
is too good.
that's just
though.
what-
Tracer is too good in my opinion. I think the problem with Tracer is yes, she's a high skill cap hero, but there's a bunch of high skill cap heroes. There's like
Reduce her
Genji is a very
damage by
high skill cap.
0.5. There you go. We just
Yeah,
go back
exactly.
that way.
Bring it back to where pre-patch and see how she lands. Because she got the fact
Yeah.
that she got a flat damage buff at the same time as this, as the global changes happened. To me, that's like, okay,
just
I can
think-
see why you buff Tracer, but then it ended up being too much. Tracer's
Like,
just so good in this patch because she's so efficient with her health.
Like
which is
we
unique.
can have a nuanced conversation about like why she's good, but like from the average, more like plebeian POV, it's just like, oh, she is played all the time, therefore too good. It's like that's not good enough of an argument, really.
Well,
I
think
really
that's
dislike.
almost good enough of an argument, honestly. Like,
I mean, it's not
if the
because
best players
the
in the
reason
world, only
reason
play
it's not,
one hero. That's kind of
the
a big
reason it's,
deal, right?
the reason it's not a, well, hang on, there's a reason. So there's nuance. That the reason it's not a good enough argument is because, like, again, the best players in the world are able to play the skill cap of the heroes. And if you have a hero like Tracer, where if you can really play her skill cap, you can really get the most out of her, and then she becomes really good. Then she deserves to be good. That's the argument. At least that's my argument.
Shouldn't like other heroes with high skill cap should compete for that
Be
playtime?
equally,
I'm fine with like the best players in
viable.
the world only playing like 5 heroes because like the 5 highest skill cap heroes in the game
Yeah.
dominate the game.
I would
That's
then
fine.
address. I would then
But, like
address
if you
those
look
other
at the
heroes.
top, if you look at top rank, maybe it's also a rank problem. If you look at ranked, like look at the top. I don't even know how many players down the top DPS rank do you have to go before somebody doesn't have Tracer in their #1 most played? I think it's
also,
like top 10 is
to do
all
with,
#1, which is
also to
crazy.
do
There's
with the
hit scan
heroes-
players who are playing Tracer the most
Well,
in
hang
rank
on.
because it's scary.
It's also to do with what the heroes like design and what she can achieve, what the hero can achieve in design. So like, there's not really heroes in the game that can do what Tracer does. So like,
Yeah.
her versatility and how effective she is less to do with like the raw numbers and more to do with the fact that she's just hyper versatile, super high skill cap, and you know, you can just do so much with this hero if you're incredibly good at her, and that's more of a design thing than I think the numbers are too big. I would just look at some of the other heroes first instead of like looking at Tracer immediately. Be like, well, what's Genji lacking? What's Sojourn lacking? What's Soldier 76 lacking?
I don't
Yeah,
mind
that's a
that
bigger
approach
question.
either, but they're not doing that, you know. So like, if they were to make other heroes have the same skill cap as Tracer, I don't know if that's even
That's what I think
possible. I
Blizzard
think
should do.
Tracer has an absurd
She's wild.
situation with the like Blink is the best ability in the game, bar none. Honestly, most heroes in the game, I'm not even kidding. Most DPS heroes in the game, if I could play Soldier 76 with no ult ever, and I just have Blink, I will do that. If I could play almost any DPS hero in the game, I will literally give up my ult to have Blink on and one of my skills. I'll give up my skill and my ult to have Blink on my hero. Like I'll
know
have
what's
no
even better
ult
than
on
Blink?
Cassidy, Soldier, any hit scan. Literally any hit scan in the game with Blink is now better without ult and cut one of their skills away. Hell,
I can,
I don't need any skills. Take away everything except I just play Soldier 76 with his gun and I have Blink. That's the best.
I can tell you one better ability, and this is tested.
What's the better ability? I'm
The
curious.
one better ability than Blink is actually
I'm
Fade.
committed to Blink being the best.
It's
but-
Fade. It's Fade, and the reason why it's
No,
Fade.
no.
Nah,
Because you don't
it's
have
Fade.
3 fades. You don't have 3. 3 is
Okay,
so money.
okay. Okay,
Triple
3
fade.
fades. 3 fades is better than 3
Okay,
blinks.
yes,
Change my
3
mind.
fades is better than Blink. You got me
got
there.
you, bitch. Got
But
you,
it's not
bitch.
you don't get
Um,
3. You don't get 3 of them.
Nah, but 1 fade is already pretty good because it just allows you to get out everything it's got. You literally turn invisible. Okay.
Yeah, but then you
can
don't
jump.
have it.
It has
you
vertical
use it,
mobility.
and then you can die. Tracer has 3 blinks.
I'll meet you in the middle. I'll meet you in the middle. 2 fades, final offer.
No, it's not how the ability is. I can't compete against an ability that doesn't exist.
All right, Johnny's back.
Okay,
Johnny's back to
5
bring us
blinks
back
is
on
better
track.
than 2
Sorry.
fades. Like, what are we even
No, you're
talking
cheating
I'm
about?
now.
sorry, I had to
That's
go
just
be a
cheating.
dog dad for a second.
The
but
exchange rate is wild.
Yeah, seriously, we gotta get the 4x for ability cooldowns.
Are the fades gold standarded in terms of their value, or
No. Fade is fine, but it's 1 skill and then it's on cooldown and there's punish. There's a vulnerability. Oh, no fade. Like all these. I mean, there's a lot of powerful escapes in the game, but having 3 CDs, 3 cooldowns on it is a crazy thing to have. It lets you use one. The critical thing about having multiple skills on a multiple CD cycle is that you can use your what I call like the top skill. So like you always want your cooldown cycling in Overwatch. Right? It's like fundamental to the game. If you can use the ability for value, almost always you want to, because if you're not cycling the cooldown, there's like you're missing value. Like my damage per second on Soldier is higher if I'm always shooting my rocket right when it comes off cooldown. It's not super realistic, but if I can hit my rocket, if like the Winston drops a bubble, I'm gonna shoot my rocket at it almost 100% of the time because it's like I can start cycling that cooldown. It might not be the best use of the rocket, but I can start cycling the cooldown, and that is very powerful. And so Blink is what makes it so good is that you're almost always cycling Blink. Most abilities you're scared to just cycle for value because you might need to hold them, like Heal Station or something on Soldier. Theoretically, you want to cycle for value, but there's a big punish to that, and so you can't really safely do that all the time. But Blink, you're basically able to fight all the time because you can blink in one time and you start fighting aggressively, and then you blink back and you continue fighting. You never stop fighting because this
My
ability is
face when
always
Jake
cycled.
explains Blink.
No, but I mean, from a fundamental perspective, like think about
Yeah,
when they made Junkrat have 2 minds.
I get it, I
Took
get
it from the worst hero in the game to like one of the best, right? Right when they changed that ability.
Things with charge is good.
Yeah. Because of this
3
crucial
fire strikes.
aspect
All
of
right, guys, got it. I got
cycling
it.
but not punish.
Fix Reinhardt. 3 fire strikes.
Fire
Boom.
strike.
Hire me, Blizzard.
no, you get the wrong
Fine.
idea. 2 charges. You need to cycle charge. That's what I'm on about.
Okay, 2
Double
pins,
charge.
bro. What? Imagine you.
All right,
pin
change my
somebody,
mind. Change
then
my
you
mind. Oh,
just
hold up.
pin them
Change my
again.
mind.
Pin out.
Ryan,
We got Ryan figured out. You just need to be able to escape once you pinned in and committed.
guys, I
Pin
got
in,
you, fam.
You kill somebody, you pin out. You're like a race car.
Get someone on the way back. Get someone when you go in. Get someone on the way back. That's how you do it. That's how you play
Tell me, fade isn't better than charge. If you gave Reinhardt fade instead of charge, I think Reinhardt's insane.
I mean,
bro.
probably.
What the hell?
Does that
Imagine
include
Ryan
the
fades into your
vertical
backline
jump?
and shatters you. He disappears and shatters you.
See? Fade's best ability in the game.
You know,
Anyway,
alright,
what
because
else we
Ryan
got?
faded
Imagine
out.
What else
Ryan
we
with
got?
blink, bro. Good luck blocking my shatter. I'm gonna blink 180 shatter you.
I just want there to be a Reddit comment or a YouTube comment that just says 3 fades is better than 3 blinks. That's my comment.
I mean,
that's my
that is
today.
obviously
That's
true,
true.
but,
That
but
is-
if Fade had 3 abilities,
Got
it
you
would
there.
also be the best in the game.
So I had to go be a dog dad. Where did you guys? Did you guys just talk about Symmetra?
We
or
got the
did you address
Torb.
some
We
of the
finished
others?
Torb.
Oh,
We
finished
talked about
Torb
the
as well?
stealth
We got
counter
to
to tracer.
Torb and-
Stealth
yeah.
countering tracer by buffing the aimbotting heroes, which is
Okay.
like whatever, but I don't like it.
All right, let's talk about May. You know, moving on from moving on to
3 hours
Satan's work.
patch notes. All right.
Let's talk about May here.
Why
The
can she
blaster
still
ammo
play?
increased from 120 to 140, and the cryo free seal per second increased from 50 to 62.5. Just some minor changes, really. Don't think it's too relevant. So, right, guys, fun talking about May. Moving on to the next hero. We got
job,
Reapers. Death Blossom. Damage per second increased from 170 to 185, and ultimate cost decreased by 12%. I know someone was happy. It's probably Backbone. I don't know if Backbone's in the chat because I'm not reading chat, but yeah, Europe has been seeing some Reaper, so getting some additional buffs here. It's not because Reaper is good, but because Reaper fits the comps that they're currently playing. At least that's my read on it. But okay, no comments. We'll move on to the next one.
Well, Death Blossom was weaker because the health bag changes. This makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
health
this is
changes
like
rather.
kind of like bringing Reaper back in line with other heroes.
exactly.
I
We're
think
seeing-
it was
we're
pretty
seeing
bad
scaling
this patch.
adjustment.
Many heroes
Now,
are getting the
now for
scaling
the
treatment.
controversial change on the next hero. Here we go.
Here we go. Sombra.
Ooh, everyone's favorite.
Virus impact damage increased from 10 to 25. Translocator destroys breakables while in flight, and EMP ultimate cost reduced by 8%. I'll tee you up with this, Avril. If Sombra is meta, is that good for the game?
At the highest level, I probably don't mind, but I think for the sake of the casuals, it's probably not good for them. It's probably very bad for
I
them.
think this hero just cannot be broken for casuals on the new version of the hero. To be clear, like it just
What do you mean?
doesn't. Just like she's actually punishable now. I think what made her so abusive before. I mean, in every level of the game, to be clear, it didn't matter high level or not. You just like this hero just doesn't die unless it's getting stun locked.
I think
which
that
is super broken.
okay, the
but now that you can
grievance-
catch her after TP, it's kind of like,
you're
whatever.
correct, but the grievance from that level of gameplay, and I know because I hang out around that level, I like to dabble. Is
You
the
dabble-
fact
I
that-
dabble with solo.
Yeah.
I'm not a
I like
gold
to-
player. I dabble in gold.
I like to roll around the dirt and wear a rucksack and walk amongst the plebeians. No, yeah. So what the point I'm trying to get to is the grievance is the fact that she just kills supports and kills players in the backline too easily, and in a very low level game or a low level
don't
lobby
save each
where,
other from her,
where players are not peeling for each other, we're not healing for each other. Look, all it takes for Sombra to not be busted at the low level is for both supports to look at each other and heal each other, and whoa, there it is. Sombra no longer just one-shot somebody. That's all you got to do, and yet no one fucking does that at the low level. That's all you got to do. So, yeah, is the fix just be smarter, forehead? It is. That would be the fix, but the other thing is, like, people, let's be honest, at a human psychology level, no, they're just not going to do that. People are just not going to do that. They're not going to look at each other and heal each other. So what's going to happen is you buff Sombra's damage, she's going to land on a support, and they're going to get deleted, and that's it.
They're gonna quit
that's
the game.
unfortunately-
I mean, I'm more worried about the EMP change. I think the virus change is like kind of nothing. 15 damage is not much damage, guys. It's like very little, Like, so I think that's very micro. Obviously, the TP change is like pure quality of life, like 1% impact type change. The EMP is very good though. Having such a long ability lockout on the EMP is very, very good. And that I mean, no one's ever liked this part of her kit of how long. I mean, that's why it's so much better. They change hack to not also have this super long ability lockout on a regular skill. Having it on EMP is like more okay because it's an ult and all the ults are broken, so whatever. But still, I don't love the ult getting buffed is like scary. I mean, I guess it does make her more consistent. In the end, though, I don't think this hero is problematic anymore because she's so punishable. Like, I think just the same way it's fine if it, like fine for like whatever certain top 5 heroes to dominate at high rank. This hero can dominate at like low rank because people don't save each other. It's that's kind of I don't think you should rework the hero for that.
Virus. Don't forget the virus damage doubles on hack targets, right? So we've gone
or is it applied faster?
It's double tick rate.
No, it doubles. It doubles and the dot applies faster.
I think it's just
no, I'm checking the wiki now. I'm checking the impacts. I'm checking the wiki now. It used to be 10 damage and then 20 damage hacked, which would now mean it's 25 damage, 50 damage hacked. There's 50 damage hacked and then 100 damage over 2 seconds instead of 4. Was that right, or was it 1 second? No, 2 seconds instead of 4. So it's like 150 damage in 2 seconds, and then on top of whatever her left click is on a 250 HP support.
I just live in the world where it's really hard to hack people because people just turn around and break your hack. So
I know,
you can't even hack people because you have to kill them without it.
Jack, you live in.
So I don't have a good
hang on. You live in GM land where people turn around and heal each other.
Jake can't see from his
I don't know what it's like.
Over in the peasantry of the middle ranks, people don't do that. And that's
you gotta
unfortunate
turn around
for most
fast
people.
And break the
yeah,
break the
but
hack,
that's
bro.
not what people do. That's not how people play the game, sadly. Unfortunately, people don't know how to do that. Fortunately, I see people literally not using movement ability sometimes. It's tragic down there, so don't worry about it.
My point, I don't think that matters in the sense that like you can't design around people who aren't using their skills. You know what I mean? Like I think it's more okay for win rates to be out of whack in low rank, where like if you're the lower rank you are, the more people just are playing like. The more that an individual player's skill is like dictating the outcome of the game, honestly. Because if you're just really good at Rein, you can crush like lower lobbies just by like positioning really well and like using your skills. I mean, even though I think Rein's probably the worst tank, it's like I don't think that matters in gold. If you're very good at Rein in gold, you'll just rank up by being good at the game. And so I don't think the balance I don't think heroes being too strong at low level.
The question is it healthy for the game? And so then to answer that question, I would say like, well, what is her like playstyle and the design of that? And the playstyle is I'm invisible, I appear in the backline, a support probably dies. And I think most people, I don't know, I was about to say regardless of level, but I might just hold off on that. Probably think that's just kind of like I don't know, that seems unfun. Am I crazy? That's a little unfun.
I mean, I think it was really unfun when Sombra just automatically gets out for free in the last.
So we agree that she's just unfun. So she's just an unfun hero.
No. That was true before the TP change. I think that was before the TP change. It was like, this is heinous. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't punish this hero unless you're like one of 3 heroes in the game that can stun.
I'll be honest. Like the old Sombra was like, oh, she's really like at the noob level. Oh, she's really annoying. She's not just like one-shotting me. I'm hacked for like 6 seconds. I can't kill her. She's not punishable. But at least I'm not just getting wiped. New Sombra is like, I die.
How many heroes can't punish her? I mean, she's so punishable now, right? The TPing out is like risky and inconsistent. You need to be like within a certain range.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm just saying like her playstyle now is she appears and you die, and that's coming from like the bad teamwork middle rank.
Even with no teamwork
position.
I mean, there's only a few supports who can't save themselves from her, right? Like you just press one skill on yourself and like you can fight her. Like on almost every support. Right? Like
you say that. I'm just saying. You say that. It makes sense. I'm just saying that makes total sense.
Mercy?
You need to have a look at what's happening in gold, and you'll understand.
But my point is, you can't design it if somebody's like not gonna press the lamp on themselves. Like I can't help you.
No. My counter argument is
we're bad, so you're wrong.
We've turned into a debate. Anyway, my counterpoint is it healthy for the game or not? And I think for the high level, it's fine. But for the low level, I would say technically based on the question, what I think the definition of the question is, I'd say she was unhealthy for the majority of the game, but she's fine for the high level. That's the answer.
I think the EMP change is much more quote unquote unhealthy for the game. I don't think this Summer being good at solo killing is, I think, totally fine for the hero because yes, you're good at solo killing, but it's also very possible to kill you. The same way Genji is very good at killing people, but he's very punishable, right? Like your aggression could also be your thing that gets you out. So you have to decide how much you value it. Summer's more unique in that she kind of gets in for free, often with stealth, and then getting out is now in question, uncertain with the TP. You need to like turn around, you need to aim it well, and you need to like kind of know where your team is or where you're getting out to escape properly. And then from the other side, it's like, yeah, Summer has a chance to kill you, but almost every support has a way to save themselves. if it just, like it's not even like you're. I mean, if it's like only team play can save you, or like the old ability lockout, okay, I get that's a problem, but now it's like you can save yourself on like just okay, maybe if you're dying every time on Zen and no one's saving you, you might have to get off Zen. But like I think that is good for the game. That some of the heroes who have no self save get punished by an assassin. That's kind of how it's supposed to be, right? Like playing Widowmaker, yeah, it's like you should be really vulnerable to Sombra. I think that's healthy and good for the game. But like most heroes in the game have a favorable 1v1 with Sombra, or at the very least can live for like 10 plus seconds with their own skills.
I think it's okay for low rank players to be punished for not hitting the IQ check.
Yeah, like for not hitting the like I can press my own skill on myself check. I understand that it's like frustrating your team doesn't save you, but I don't really think that's necessary against Sombra. It's if there's a Sombra +1, then you're gonna need your teammates to save you. But then, you know, team coordination beats a lack of team coordination, which yeah, like that should be that way. I don't know. I don't mind this assassin hero being good at assassinating you. If you get caught alone and you have no way to save yourself, you should die to the assassin.
I'm not going to add to this because Plat Chat made a reputation for ourselves here that we don't actually know what's going on down there in the lower ranks, and we'd have a bunch of angry people in the comments just like, you don't know what's happening in gold. You have no idea what you're talking
The
about.
gold players can get
And
mad
so,
at me. That's okay. I'll take your anger and only respond.
This is
with
why we
love.
I
gotta
don't know what
respect
the Sombra
AVRL's
vibes are, but-
opinion. He's our war correspondent down there.
Yeah, I
The man on
believe
the
it.
ground.
Don't worry, guys. If you're in gold, all you got to do is pay Jake to help you get out of gold.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Jake's
which,
course.
masterclass.
There we
Am I
go.
right,
Get
guys?
the
Am I
course.
right?
Get
Got some
one-on-one
good reviews the
coaching.
other day, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I was talking about boosting it, but no, I'm kidding. No, get the masterclass. Yeah.
I saw the Reddit comments. I saw the Reddit comments like, oh, those good videos there, Jake. You really helped
Thank
some
you.
people
I
out.
put my heart and soul into it, guys. I'm just gonna make more videos.
Can I get a mates rates discount or no?
Yeah. It's not a mates rate. You get $10 off like everybody else.
And
So it's not mates rates at all.
so the base price is $10, right? So it's $10 off $10
no.
or what?
It's $20 or it's $30 and then down to 20 with a $10.
I barely play the game anyway. It's fine. I'll pass. All good. Next time.
That's fine. It's for people who want to who grind, you know, who want to get.
Slowly but
Anyway.
surely, Jake is building towards that next car. Getting off the Subaru.
I'm trying to get a Porsche 911, guys.
He's
I need a
trying-
lot of
he's this
people to buy
close
the
to the
core.
CLE.
We need a lot of courses,
You can
guys.
see the CLE.
Spread the
What is that,
word.
like 20,000 sales? And we'll see, guys. I don't know. It might be more than that. I don't even know.
Yeah, maybe if people use code Plat Chat at Manscaped enough, then maybe then we can get ourselves a Porsche. A Plat Chat Porsche. Go pretty hard.
Use code Jake
And-
at Porsche for 0% off.
Yes, code. Hey, walking into a dealership. Hey guys, I'm using referral code Jake here at the dealership. Is that cool?
They're like, what the hell?
Can
are
I
you
get 10%
talking
off my
about?
Porsche? That'd be
Stop
good.
feeding in your ranked games. Feed on factor meals instead.
There you go. There you go.
slogan.
Overwatch 50. Overwatch 50 at factormeals.com. All right. All right, before we get to OWCS, which we have to talk about, of course, here on the Plat Chat podcast, I'm gonna tee you up Legday real quick.
Oh,
We
bloody
got some
hell.
we got some new weapon skins. They're not quite out yet, but they're coming soon. I need your rating 1 to 10
finally.
on
10.
the Soldier 76 and Junkrat.
I
weapon
really
skins.
dig the rat one. I really dig the rat one. It looks
This is
so
fire,
good with the
actually.
junk bot. I mean, rat has been absolutely almost Baptiste level done dirty in skins thus far in Overwatch 2. But this goes super hard. I dig it. It is fantastic. It's going to be an instant cop on release. Not going to lie.
I'm not gonna lie, I still rock the OG, an original release skin on Junk. Toasted or nothing, baby. Toasted or nothing.
Posted.
I love junk
It's so
bot, man.
good.
It's so
he's
good.
he's all. That's like honestly, so many of the Junkrat one tricks rock toasted. I swear it's like the most popular for those who know, those with
For
refined
those in
palate
the
of Junkrat
Junkrat
skins.
Council.
Yes.
Yo,
alright,
dude,
all the Junkrat one
guys-
tricks, like I swear to God, any Junkrat one trick that's watching this, tweet at me, man. If you use a skin besides Toasted, you at least recognize that Toasted is one of the best of the, I don't even know what the name is, but the purple tier skins in the entire game.
The epic.
It's just so good.
You
Yeah,
know
it's
why?
Epic.
You got to
This is-
bend
this
the
is the thing.
knee.
Competitive
all-
advantage, he's gonna say.
All the Junkrat mains, they're all about the skin maxing, and they know that the Toasted is the skin max right now.
All right, the
There it
only
is.
skin maxing I do on Junkrat is I use the spray that's a trap.
You spray max it over there.
Just spray the ground in like
Holy
spots where
shit,
you
we
might
just-
put a
maxing.
trap.
We've just invented
Look
spray
at the
maxing
skin, guys.
live
Come on
Plat Chat.
now. This could be yours for the low price of, I don't even know how many
I
credits
think
it costs.
750 credits would
A
be the
dirty gun.
price.
That needs a clean.
Go
All right,
on.
whatever.
on
The gun
fire,
is not why
Junkrat.
you rock the skin. You're rocking this for the
That's-
the hair
that
and the
weapon
base
skin?
skin.
That weapon skin looks like Joel's car parked outside of his apartment right now because it hasn't been washed in months.
Hey,
He hasn't been
Josh
like-
drives a fine automobile.
He hasn't been.
know.
No, I'm
He
just
has a
saying
fine
'cause he's
automobile.
been stuck in the UK. He's been stuck in the UK,
it's getting
and
dusty.
he hasn't been able to wash his car. That's what I'm saying.
God damn, bro.
Damn, he had to
And,
do
Damn.
it.
he's not,
you have to go there.
and he's not here to defend himself. So it's the
Br-
perfect time to mention it.
Junkbot's smaller head doesn't have the big hair on it, you know? Obviously, the hitbox is the same, but if you're skin maxing, Junkbot's got a pretty small head.
Junkbot.
What is that one? I don't know by
It'll
name
be
at
available
least.
in season 1 or season 2 if you get a filters.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a pay to win skin.
pay to win.
Oh, is it gone?
It's gone from the shop. It
They
doesn't show
nerfed
in the
it. They
shop.
made the
It's
head
done.
larger.
Some of them doesn't show from the shop.
Or it's gone. Oh, I see.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
All right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
You
I,
look like
I
Zenyatta,
dig
man.
this one. I'm gonna,
Yeah?
yeah.
Yeah, this one is skin maxing PVE because the PVE bots think you're on their side.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I'm running the spy build, baby.
The spy build.
Just walk with the bots, bro. They'll never notice.
Jake, you're gonna cop the Junkrat gun?
Me.
Is it the new skin? There's a whole skin with it, or is it? Just like
No,
a-
there's just a weapon skin, like the holy light or the hard light weapons that we was talking about for
Oh.
Reinhardt, Mercy, and stuff. This is just a separate weapon skin you can buy and use with any of your favorite
Wait,
Junkrat
which one
skins.
is this? Is this
This is Soldier.
Yeah,
so
Soldier.
they've actually just made these skins for you, Jake. They got Soldier and Junkrat skins.
Yeah,
They're
for
all
real.
for you.
I don't know. I like the soldier one. I had to see like the first person model though.
This
for the
is
gun
cool.
Skins. I feel like the first person model is what really matters for the gun skin though.
Yeah, we don't know if they'll have custom sounds yet.
I do
think,
like
but-
the idea that there's like that there's more options of like just gun skins that you can put on. Like I think more customization in the skins is really good. Like the mythic skins
Yeah.
have it, but more of like I can have this gun and this skin or that hat. You know, I'm a TF2 enjoyer, so I like the zany
TF2 heads?
combos people come up with. You know,
Can't have that
like
hat if you're on Cassidy on Spike Spiegel.
If TF2 heads rise up.
go,
if
baby.
you ask Kurt, I think Kurt probably wants to spin up a Plat Chat Team Fortress 2. So
Oh,
I haven't played that game in about 5 years, so
Jake and I will play it one time just to remember what it's like, and I'll show up for the inaugural episode of.
Oh,
Plat
Johnny,
Chat
do you
TF2.
use the hard light Rhine? I love the sound.
sometimes
for hard
I
light
did
Rhine.
for a while, and then something about it I unequipped it. It's just because I love the Imperious Rhine, so
Oh,
I just wanted the
Imperious Rhine is
Imperious
so good. I'm running that
spear.
one
Yeah,
too.
so
I will say, Avril, my competitive gaming skill is forged in the fires of MGE 1v1s in TF2. I think I played about
I played a
1,000
shitload of
straight
that.
hours of MGE.
I played a lot of that.
I was
And
I was like
Soldier wasn't even my main
3K
role. and I
plus
played a lot of it.
elo in all the MG servers in NA.
yeah, we have this separate channel in the Plat Chat Discord, and every once in a while, like every couple of weeks, Kurt will just go like, "Hey, anyone wants to play TF2?" and no one responds. It's just
No,
Kurt,
it's
just like
the same
Because
message.
that's because Jake and I are not in that channel. I can't see that channel, so I can't respond to it.
I don't even have TF2 installed, man. I can't go back. Now I'm an
It's
Overwatch. Like
over.
Overwatch scratches the itch for me now. I don't know if I
Yeah.
could go back. TF2
Jake's
is a
playing
classic,
Team Fortress
but,
3 now, guys. He's on TF3.
Dude, that would be safe. TF3 comes out, I will try. There's
I'm
no
saying
question about
Overwatch is
that.
TF3. That's what I'm
Oh
saying.
yeah.
We're on TF4 now.
Not really, but yeah.
that
Spiritual successor. We'll say.
that go crazy. That go crazy. Team
I would
Fortress
play
3.
TF3 though. That will go. It's not ever
TF3.
coming,
It just
but-
sounds ridiculous saying it. Anyway, all right. We're
Valve
about
can't
2
count that, I
hours,
guess.
20 minutes in. Let's dive into some mobile WCS action. This is what literally all
We
our
made it.
listeners have been waiting for just
Thanks
this.
for tuning into Plat Chat 217. See you next week.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Let's kick things
Goodbye.
off with North America. Obviously, it's going to be a bit weird here because we didn't have a broadcast for Friday's matches last week, and so we missed a lot of the early matches in the week that kicked off OWCS over in the Western region. But there were a few teams that advanced to the playoffs bracket already because they went 2-0 in last week. Those teams were just rattling off North America here. Those teams were Toronto Defiant, Luminosity Gaming, Timeless, who beat out M80 in a 3-2 map banger, and Students of the Game also went 2-0 in Group D as well, and they were able to advance. First off here, how exciting was the action? Was it what you expected? I know we got some stomps here, a lot of 3-0s for the week here. We only had one really close match here, but I think that's the nature of having 16 teams as well here in the
I mean,
playoffs
that's the match
action.
to talk about though. Is Timeless upsetting, right? Like that's huge. I think this has been
100%.
Johnny, am I not hard vindicated from how much I've been talking up the up and coming players in NA like the last like tournaments and
Yeah,
everything. Like,
yeah, go off,
I
King.
believed in these guys for a while. I'm super excited to see them get huge results like that, winning against top teams, students of the game as well, with a ton of up and coming players. Like, for me, this is really cool to see in NA, and I think it's actually really good for the game that the competition is this fierce from teams that would not be considered the favorite, not even, well, at least from like pure name value. You know, it should be super favored for M80 here, and Timeless able to get the win. Huge result for all the players on this team.
And even people who were like tier 2 pilled, there are people that they've never heard of either, who are like big stock in North America. Not big stock, but big dark horses manually on Citrus Nation. Fucking crazy on the Sojo. Was really impressed with them. And I
I'm a
think
Citrus Nation fan.
It's really delivering on the promise of this format, that we have these players come out of nowhere, some like literal red names on Wikipedia, and we're like, okay, these guys kind of fuck. And
Overwatch 2
that's the value of this format.
Yeah, new generation of players coming up. I will say, I think the the group with LG and Citrus Nation is probably one of the weaker groups. And I don't think Citrus was that good. I think it was like only Timeless and Students of the Game that have looked like actually competing on the tier 1 level right now. I mean, I think there's interesting individuals outside of that, but as far as like overall teams, I feel like I haven't really seen anybody else. Like, I don't want to overstate the case of like the up-and-coming players. I think the veterans are still very good and still going to be on top in the end. But I think the teams, I think Timeless and well, I mean, Luminosity also has a lot of up-and-coming players, right? I think Timeless, Luminosity, Students of the Game, three of these teams are filled with like a lot of lesser-known players.
Sure, but I think the first round, as we're seeing, because as I said, there's 16 teams in these formats, right? We saw the 4 best teams pretty much advanced. You know, M80, you could have that conversation. But for the most part, you saw the best teams advance, and now this upcoming week, where we see the rest of the teams battle it out for the final spots in next week's playoffs. I think these are going to be the matches you're talking about, Jake, where you're seeing some of the perhaps the lesser known players go head to head for a chance to really get into the spotlight, right?
Yeah, that would be huge for them. I do think, well, I guess we'll see, but I think it's like, I'm looking at these, who maybe Group D looks pretty competitive for the bottom 3, although the Group D doesn't look super strong to me overall. And then Group A and B, I'm pretty sure M80. I mean, for M80, that's a massive upset, because I think M80 is like a top 3 team in the region, or should be.
I mean, they've been looking dominant in scrims right now.
What?
They've been looking great in scrims right now.
Yeah. I think part of the problem also is like having the Korean guys on ping. If they can get to NA, that's going to be a huge impact for them. Playing on KR ping and weird time zone is like so much harder, and not being able to live with the team is also a lot harder. So I think I think in the end, like I'm happy to shout out like the up and coming players, but I'm like, for me, it's like when they actually are competitive to win against the tier 1 names is when I'm gonna like really get hype on them, which is why I want to speak so much to like the teams who have already had success versus teams like, yeah, there's more competitive teams, but like, sure, people can like qualify for the bigger tournament, which is cool, but like, I want to see you get wins in the end, right? I think there's like something to be said for just like the raw results speaking for themselves when it comes to these up and coming players. And so I think these are the players I'm most excited for. They were in that position before where they were like, oh, we could talk about them. There's like future players, but now they're in the position of like, maybe these are tier 1 players, right? Maybe like they're no longer, we're not talking about the next year. We're talking about new entries into the tier 1. And that's where I'm interested. Maybe some of these second, like the second qualifying teams can also be in that conversation, but so far they haven't shown it.
It's just you and I forming the Squid fan club right here.
Oh, yeah, Squid is another name
week.
I'm totally thinking about, right? Totally focused on. I think there's a lot of exciting players, but in the end, I'm a very critical person. Like, I want to see them actually win and get real results before I'm like believing in them. That like to be honest, there's also teams in the format and players who I think are just like not going to be able to compete at the highest level, which is fine, and it's good for them to be able to play in the format. But for me, I have like a bias towards tier 1, which I think honestly is how a lot of people are. I think realistically, for most viewers, it's like they're not really gonna put respect on these names until people can really get wins, or at least give us some maps. I mean, if you're getting 3-0 in the end, I don't care how well you played. Like, you're getting 3-0. Like, you're not good enough, you know. And like,
I guess I will do something you don't like then, or
Yeah.
don't like maybe. But like next episode for sure, we'll spend a lot of time talking about the best teams. We'll talk a lot about
Yeah,
Toronto
of
next
course.
week. We'll talk
We'll
a lot
see some
about
more
Timeless
info,
Luminosity
yeah.
Gaming, like who will actually win in the Stage 1 playoffs, right? We'll talk about those teams. So this week in particular, maybe want to highlight some of those players that we saw for the first few times here. So AVRL, I don't know if you ended up rewatching the Sunday matches because I know you were asleep then, but
Some of them.
you did watch day 2 matches. Were there any player names in particular that stood out that perhaps are a bit lesser known?
The Timeless guys for sure. I think like Rocket Chopper are incredible players. The fact that I'm taking the easy way. I'll name some other players in a second, but we just got to highlight those two first and foremost because like anyone that hasn't kept up with tier 2, like guys, Rocket Chopper, they brought it up to the many guys like Chopper versus Hydron. Was it Rocket even in the post-match interviews? Like, yeah, he said Sojin Gap, even though he was a Tracer player, but he's just given his buddy Chopper the one up there, which I think kind of
Gassing up the
Chopper.
homies.
Chopper
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
saying
Psyop.
game versus Hydron. But I think PGE is a great up-and-comer player from Students of Game, and No Infected is like another big name there. Vision impressed me on the Ash,
Vision is
which
sick, yeah.
which I think like I wasn't really expecting Ash to be in the meta, but after he played the Ash, I felt like I saw a lot more Ash across the board, even starting to creep into other regions as well. So that was kind of fun. And there's some other good players, but I think those are mainly the ones that were like, whoa, these guys are pretty good.
The rosters are here.
From the players that aren't already like super well known.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I agree with PG. I think PG is one of those players who it felt like PG started out a bit shaky in the first series, and maybe it's because he was on broadcast. I don't know, doesn't have a ton of experience in pro play. But obviously a name that a lot of people are familiar with at this point. But just because of like the nature of PG's highlights, where like you see some insane like Widowmaker shots or like hit scam play, it's almost a bit like those very streaky hit scam players we have in the past, like Pine, Taimu come to mind, who just have like insane highlight reels really. And PG felt like one of those players who just like when PG pops off, it's very noticeable. That's a sick kunai, by the way. But PG definitely stood out in that regard and definitely got better as the series progressed. So I'm looking forward to more PG as well.
It's the nature of the role. I think hit scan is just one of those streaky kind of roles. So
sure, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the best players rise above that, right? And deliver consistency. On
every
what
overclock
could
you
be
get value.
A streaky role, right? Like that's why we call them some of the best. And so I do think that that's kind of the standard you need to hit before. Because I mean, for my purposes, I guess like every player at this level, realistically, anybody who's in this competition is like a 99.9 percentile player, right? There's like a very small number of players at this level. But it's the players who rise above that competition and differentiate themselves, not just as in the competition, but as dominating it or looking like some of the strongest players that for me are like really exciting. So yeah, I'd put PG in that category. I think Infected is a huge name. I think people will see more and more. For me, he's like the best tank prospect out of NA, maybe next to Riker, Icy, False, which those guys I think have been around. Well, not as Riker is also pretty like becoming Icy and False. I think we've seen those names before, maybe.
And this guy Seeker, he's real up and coming. I really
Seeker,
hope
I heard about him
Seeker
once or twice. He's pretty good.
Yeah. First time I've ever seen Seeker is not bad, guys. Not a bad player.
Yeah.
Nice
I'm interested to see how that team does because they've got some strengths, but I worry about like I don't know the flexibility overall with the roster. Like Amir has always been like he's since transitioning from DPS. I think the key for him is going to be playing some of these main tank heroes is incredibly hard for people to like learn and transition to. But I'm pretty sure you can handle the Malga, so maybe it's a good meta for them.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really discuss the meta because, we did see a lot of heroes and stuff, but the meta is going to change with the mid-season patch, of course. And so I think there's little value talking about like, what do you think about this composition? And do you think this will be meta? Because we're going to see at least a little bit of a shakeup going into this weekend, but we were still impressed by some individual players. And, I'm cashing in some of my bucks. I told you. Seru definitely was a standout for me. I think Zero's Tracer was really impressive in that regard. Infected, like you said.
I think his name is just Zera.
Zero?
I don't think it's Zero.
Well, sorry, I'm Swedish.
I could be wrong.
I'm Swedish, all right? I'm struggling over here.
I think the UHH is just
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy.
That's my read of it. Actually, I never asked him, though. Maybe I should ask him.
Ask him in Swedish. Ask him in Swedish how it's pronounced.
It's so wild that the entire meta might change midway through a group.
It is what it is now, I guess.
Yeah,
Welcome
especially
to
if it's a
2024
Malga one-trick
Overwatch.
meta, that'll be a little bit,
That's
a little bit sad.
freaking
But you know what?
wild.
You know what? In the end, even though these metas are like silly, it's like the best teams in the game are gonna find a way to overcome and rise above. In the end, like as much as it's
Just
as much
like
as
the
the
hit
meta
scans.
looks silly, like exactly, like you find some way to min-max the meta, or your read on like how to do the ult cycle is better. Because even in these simplistic metas or what look like simplistic metas, the way you're thinking about the ult cycle, it actually can get really complex because there's like the first layer of, I'm gonna combo this ult, and deal with that ult. But then when the game becomes really complex when you're baiting ults and you're like, just living without counter ulting, like these are the things that define some of the best teams. And it's not a pure mechanic, it's like a team play. Like this is Overwatch, like pure team play. It's not about just hitting all your shots on Sojourn. It's about how do I like escape your abilities without using my own? How do you get more efficient trades in the other team? And even for something like Malga, I think we'll see a lot of like, outplays, even in terms of how you deal with the Malga, how you control the space on the map so that overclock gets zoned and things like that.
In a whole scene level, do you think that like lack of stability in patches is gonna even further increase the value of like highly adaptable coaches as well as players to make sure people are kind of on top of this within like 3 days?
Yeah, I think both matter. In the end, a coach is really at the highest level. The purpose of a coach is not really to like teach the players something fundamental. Usually at this level, at the super elite level, where the players are very good, it's to like facilitate an environment where, from my perspective at least, to facilitate an environment where the conversation can be had, people can be critical with each other in a productive, constructive way, and then you also, you're bringing together 5 different perspectives on what feels the best and finding one collective perspective that kind of rises out of that. And so I think coaches are really valuable, but it's, for me, I think the players are the most important in the end. Always, they have to have the read of like how to adapt themselves to the meta, and how to what feels good for them. The coaches can facilitate that conversation happening across the whole team, though, which I think honestly, since team play is such a huge part of the game, and even more so with this recent patch, you make a fair point.
It's like the communication management.
Yeah, and of how you come to a conclusion on what's the best way to play. Because in the end, it's hard to say like, do we use this ult for that ult, or do we try to kite these ults? How do we, when should we commit? When should we run? All these questions are fluid and changing, and so you kind of need to have. In the end, it's up to the players to like make that read in the moment in the game. You can set all the conditions you want, but actually knowing what's going on and having that awareness to make the right call, it's going to rest on the player. So I think if anything, though I like there being unstable patches because it puts more pressure on teams to have the flexibility to cope with them, and that you're not like a one-trick wonder team where you can just only play one comp and like you own with it. I think it's the spirit of Overwatch that you have to play many comps, and whether that comes, maybe there's a one-trick patch, but it only lasts a month. You know what I mean? I still think that's interesting for the game. Like there's a funnel there. Like, can you survive this Malga meta as a team? Can you still stay on top if you're one of the best teams playing this comp? Like, is there a way to differentiate yourself? And I think in the end there always is. As much as players get mad and frustrated, because it is frustrating sometimes to have some of these metas that don't favor you, I do think in the end it's a level playing field. As much as it's chaotic and uncertain, there's a leveling effect to how chaotic and uncertain things are.
Like a bit of innovation Overwatch.
As we wrap up the North American region as well, is there any of these teams that are playing this weekend that you're looking for to qualify? I think it's pretty straightforward in most of the groups we have for the North American region. Group B is going to be a banger, but then you had Jake, who's just like not a Citrus Nation believer. I still want to believe in the Citrus Nation.
I mean,
but
they just
also
got smoked 3-0 though in the end, right? They had like one close map against Luminosity. So for me, it's like when I see that, it's like, yeah, they might qualify, but they're just going to get smoked again by some other team. I don't think Luminosity is like the #1 team in the region. If you can't take a map off them,
they beat LFO one time.
I think it's about beating LFO that's more interesting here.
So here's my only point is like, in the end, I'm less interested in the teams that can like that are second best in the group and that won't compete with the tier 1s in the group. I think I'm more interested in groups like something like Timeless M80 is like, I'm more interested to see those teams, because now these teams can both go on and look really strong beyond this point.
They're
Brother is not interested.
They're not. Timeless are not playing because they're already advanced.
No, I see what you mean.
Jake?
But my point is just that I don't care so much about teams who make the qualifier after
Okay,
losing 3-0.
Avril, who do you think is gonna make it this weekend? Looking at these groups.
Can't believe we took 3 hours to get to finally Jake saying he doesn't care. There we go. We summarized it, guys. We
He just
summarized it
wanted to
3
come
hours
on and
later.
talk about cars, man.
I mean, look, I think
I-
Shikigami Hikaru will advance from Group A. They 3-0'd Daybreak.
Guys, I'm all about
already.
Dreamland versus Beluga's Platoon, baby. 2 red name teams I got no clue about. I actually think, outside of the group stuff, I'm actually a little bit worried about LFO generally for this split, this entire, these 2 stages, because like they're the team that feel like they're a little behind. I know M80 got upset as well, but at least that was a 5 mapper. I'm sure LFO will probably bring it back around, but the point about NA is that its top 3 goes to the major. And right now, Toronto Defiant is solidly within that top 3. They're probably number 1, which leaves 2 other spots. And in those 2 other spots, if M80, Timeless, LFO, and LG all going for those 2 spots, 4 teams going for 2 spots. And right now, LFO look like the team that might end up missing out. So they got to do some work, is what I'm saying. So I'm a little worried about
the
this team.
vibe check, I'd say, is Toronto, M80, Timeless, and then Luminosity is like knocking on that door. And
then
I don't want to
LFO
read
is
into scrim results.
A little bit further out, maybe. I don't know.
But I wouldn't take any of those 3 for granted to be top 3 next week. So
I think the doors are still fairly wide open. I think maybe I think LFO, LG, Timeless they're all fight. M80 they should be locked in top 3 is what we're saying. But then they did lose a Timeless, so they should be locked into top 3. And if they can do that, then really it's 3 teams going for 1 last spot in 3rd, right? So
things are volatile.
Yeah, I do feel like LFO underperformed significantly to lose to Citrus Nation.
LFO got work to do, is what I'm saying.
That's I think as from a perspective like who's underperforming the most, I feel like LFO and M80 are teams that we would have expected to be stronger. But honestly, I don't know if you can for at least M80. I don't know how much I'm wanting to criticize M80 and versus how much I want to praise Timeless. Whereas with LFO, I feel like it is more straightforward that's like a match they absolutely have to be able to win versus Citrus Nation. That like
they
should
can't win
honestly
that,
be doing that dominantly.
It's a disband if you lose to Citrus Nation here.
Like if they don't qualify, it's probably a disband.
I think there's a lot of teams.
I mean,
I
honestly,
think there's a lot of teams who will probably disband if they drop out of the groups and don't make it to
that
the
is like
main event,
that is
right?
how this sounds toxic, whatever, but that's how it basically should be for this level. Is like what you're supposed to do if you're a team that's like on the cusp of qualifying but not quite. Is you just break up and take the best players from the other teams who also didn't qualify, and you make the super team of just below the threshold. You make the super team, and like that's
super team at home.
Yeah. It's the super team at home, mom. But I think it's like I think that's genuinely how it's supposed to be because that's how you need to like refine at these levels. I do think there's sort of the challenge is that people in the end they play with their friends, and there's like an inevitability that people make teams with their friends, especially when there's not like as much of a professional standard on the line and everything. But I think as time goes on, events like this expose players to each other, and you just get to see. I don't know internally, you can't really know what's going on, but I would expect to see. I mean, LFO is like how many was Seeker? Seeker came from the implosion of like old M80. Was Liar on another team as well? Was Liar on that team? Or am I crazy?
They were mixing around.
I mean, they have
quite a bit, some of
MCD
these
and Top
players.
Dragon. So I mean, I think all these players are good. I just think like, you know what I mean? Like in the end, the teams who don't qualify probably just kind of, gobble each other up until you have like the strongest possible team of players don't qualify. And then that's a team that maybe can qualify next time.
The North American region in particular, not even simply the M80 drama that went down, but even prior to that incident, there were a lot of like roster shuffling going on within the region. That a lot of these players like Top Dragon, Mirror, Opener, they were on all these different teams, and then they go a week. I think they played with Cal and PG at some point, and so like these players were just going kind of disbanding and going all over the place because they got more opportunities to play with other teams, for example. And so there was a lot of roster shuffling going on within the North American region before the registration even closed. And I can imagine something similar will happen, like you said, for the teams here who might not qualify for the playoffs.
In the end, shuffling's part of this level where you're like on the cusp of breaking through. You shuffle and you shuffle and you shuffle until you find the best possible roster you can put together, and then when you qualify, then it builds more solidity to the team. And I think that's also kind of good for the game in a way. Like I think people overrate how much at this level you should have, like we should stick together as a team and keep grinding and stuff. It's like that matters, but there's still enough skill gap difference between individuals where you want to like find the best individuals you can. Because
No,
you look at some
yeah.
teams like Students of the Game, and they've brought together people from all these different teams, but they're having huge results, right? And so like I think that's we'll have to see more from them, of course, but I think that's in the end,
it's cutthroat. Like even back in 2016, before I got teams, like a lot of it was just like being in discords, talking to people, chatting with people. Hey, like if I saw someone play a good game, I'd just be like, hey, would you ever team up? Like, would you ever like go play with these people? And like there's a lot of that, like a lot of politics. And like if you want to like shit, you gotta become like a LinkedIn warrior, you just gotta
networking, bro. You gotta network.
500 plus connections or bust, bro.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like, hey, go work here for a little bit, go to the next place, go work there a little bit, try to climb the ladder by jumping here and there. But like, honestly, that's kind of what it is. Like, you want to associate yourself with people who are already good, while you're trying to elevate your own game, right? Because that's going to give you the best opportunity possible at getting the spotlight and advancing your career.
Bro was there in 2015 waiting for the Morte network request.
Dude, you got started with Mendokusai, SK Gaming, and then you gotta keep going, just chat to people, right? But that's honestly how it works, right? So that's what you gotta do. It's not fun though. It's not fun sitting in discords and all the time. But yeah, no, that's definitely how it's gonna work.
This
so
is why we
some
need
changes.
FPL, guys. We need FPL. FPL is the ultimate concoction for this, because you have part of the problem with the ranked is that yes, you get some occasional very high elo games, and those games are actually like really impactful to like, but they're just too rare. They're too uncommon. Like if I play for like a week, I might get like 3 games where everybody is top 50 / everybody's a competitive player. Then you get like a very interesting, very competitive game. And I think that's just too rare in ranked. It's like 1 in 5, 1 in 10 games, maybe less. Versus, if there's like a more competitive format for people to play with and against each other and meet each other, make those connections with each other, because that's the environment you're in. Whereas normally in ranked, it's just too chaotic for that. And most of your games, if you're a very high ranked player, most games are just like, I am the hard carry. I'm playing with a bunch of people significantly below my skill level, and I just need to hard carry them. And versus probably the other team has 1 hard carry or 2 hard carries as well, and then the other players are weaker. And so the game is about how much excess impact can you have, which is not how the game is at the professional level, where it's actually about like doing your role as best you possibly can. Yeah, you can occasionally carry, but like it's like certain situations. Most of the game is about actually playing a high level game and having a good read, versus individually gapping your opposition is more rare at the highest level, where you just can't really do that when everyone's very good.
All right, let's move on to the European region, which is obviously it's arguably more one-sided than the North American region, in that the 4 best teams are really freaking good. Those being, of course, Twisted Minds, Bubo Spray Check, ROC Esports, which is the team with, I don't know. Have we settled, is it Rock or ROC? Anyway,
Rock.
It's the team with Isayaki and Checkmate, so Rock Esports, and Space Station Gaming, who did play a map 5 banger against Ex Oblivione to advance through the group.
Which is kind of the only team that could come out of groups that I feel like could be competitive with any of the top teams is Exa.
Yeah. But we saw some adjustments being made from Space Station Gaming. For the most part, early on in the series, it was Ex Oblivione playing Ramatra, Lucio, Moira, whereas Space Station Gaming, they preferred putting Hadi on the Winston instead. But we saw some adjustments being made, but also Space Station just working it out with the Reaper Winston composition. So
Winston
there
is
were a
just
few
crazy
interesting
to me. I
matchups.
can't believe they play so much Winston. I feel like that hero did not look good to me this patch. I just think it looked pretty
Hadi
bad,
committed
actually.
to the Winston and they made it work.
Yeah, it looked like a C tier hero to me.
Yeah,
not
but I think
unplayable, but just
I
weak.
think he's doing it more so out of hero pool issues than like, I don't believe
I don't know
that
if he plays
SSG
Doom. Yeah, like
he doesn't,
on
and that's the
level.
problem, and that's the thing. I do not believe that SSG actually think that Winston is meta. It's more so, hey, what do we do with Hardy's hero pool? Play the next best hero, which they believe is probably Winston.
Yeah, which I think honestly for Hadi is like he risks becoming kind of like a dinosaur of the old era of like I am a main tank player, which I think is just a bygone era. I don't think you can really be a quote main tank player anymore or a quote off tank player anymore. I think both roles are just outdated. Honestly, similar on DPS and support, where like the players who have more flexibility are better, but of course tank with one hero, you can have 2 players in the role and try to like swap playtime, which I think can help. But in the end, if you're like hard counterpicked and you can't just like, you're not like functional, serviceable enough to like be confident going into the next hero, then I think it's going to be a huge Achilles heel. I think we saw that with Florida.
I have the solution.
Winning the championship, you have to be able to counterpick. If you can't, you will lose.
They need Molfig. That's what they need.
They need to bring in Molf, baby.
Molfig comes back.
I can't speak to like who's the right
Psycho
pickup for
Doom
them,
Fist,
but I think
honestly.
it could be good. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a DPS.
The
player, which should be
closer
entertaining. I think
they
that's
get
pretty
back
hard
to,
do, actually.
the closer they get back to 2021 London, the better it'll be. Surely, trust me, guys. Believe it.
Do not
Heard it here
bring up
first.
the Forbidden London roster.
Bring Kellex back. Replace
Hey,
Funny
Kellex-
Answer with
Kellex is
Kellex.
busy, man.
Kellex is
Kellex is
pounding.
busy.
Kellex is too busy winning right now, Johnny. I'm just saying.
He's not taking any
Bro is
3-2 team
Bro is
offers.
too busy having his best time of his life playing with Twisted
He
Minds.
might actually be in a better spot than
Dominating
Twisted
right now.
Minds, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
Dominating.
Twisted Minds looks like one of the best teams. Why would they leave? This team overall looks sick. Twisted Minds.
Yeah.
I mean, these top four look so good. EXO. Yeah, I mean, like there's like some more rookies on the team, but some exciting ones as well. But then I'm looking at like some of the other teams that like.
I actually think
these teams can
I think
qualify, can
NA.
they?
I think EMEA is like kind of close to NA in a while. Where it's like you have couple of EMEA is more locked in teams. I think we can lock in at this stage Boobo Spray Chicken, Twisted Minds, and almost lock in Space Station Gaming. Then you got Rock kind of on the heels of Space Station. Then you got Left Right
For the
Good
top
Night.
three you need for Dallas.
Yes,
I
and then
feel
you
like
got-
Left
then
Right
you got
Good Night
Left, Right,
is
Good
going to be
Night.
capped from paying. Honestly, like I think all these players
yeah, but
could be at that level, but I don't know
Left,
about on
Left
the
Right
paying.
Good Night. Left Right Good Night is kind of like the luminosity of this region in a way, where, or maybe the LFO of this region in a way where they're knocking on the door. They got EXO, who's also kind of there, slightly knocking on the door. So
Are they knocking on the door? They got 3-0'd.
I
right?
think they're among
It's a
the
light
slightly
knock.
more.
It's
Yeah,
a
okay.
slight
the-
knock.
Very gentle knock.
You know
when
how
you get
like
3-0'd,
you know
guys.
how
I don't
some
feel like it's
people-
much of a knock at
Okay,
all.
okay. You know how some people.
I didn't
have
watch
very
the series.
elaborate
Maybe it
knocks?
was a very close 3-0.
Some people have elaborate knocking, like they're doing a fucking jingle, like a Christmas tune. Some people just knock once, and that's the EXO way. EXO just knock once is all I'm saying.
If it can't be our
And-
delivery driver of knocks.
I got a fun fact about Rock Esports, by the way. So this is the history behind
Go
their
for it.
name. The Rock is an enormous legendary bird of prey in the popular mythology of the Middle East. The Rock appears in Arab geographies and natural history, popularized in Arabian fairy tales and sailors' folklore. There you go. That's what a rock is.
It's kind of a sick logo, actually. I'm looking at it
Yeah,
right now.
I
It's a
dig
giant.
fire.
It's a big ass bird.
Well, while we're talking up Rock, TVNT, never heard of him before, did impress me on this roster. Admittedly, like
Holy.
Checkmate demands like a good
That's an
amount
elephant.
of. Oh, that is huge.
It's
That's what I
massive.
said. It's a big ass bird.
It's carrying an elephant. My
Must have been what
goodness.
stole Cassidy's hat.
Yeah, I mean, Checkmate and
is-
Izayaki on this team that's such a huge like lineup to have. Izayaki for me has looked like one of the best supports for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Isayaki is fantastic. You know,
And then I don't know. Yeah,
The
same. I
Warframe
don't know the Saudi players, but I'm assuming they're like people who did really well in Saudi E League.
Rojo.
And honestly, a
also known
lot
as
of the Saudi
Haha
players have
Lol
impressed
JK
me
or
despite
something.
being unknown. And for them to
Rojo's
win the
my
World
guy.
Cup, you know, I think there's a lot of talent coming out of Saudi Arabia right now.
Yeah.
Rojo's the dude I talked up last episode, and I think he's that next guy.
We've been
He's the
cashing in
next
a
kid.
lot of scrim bucks over here. We've been cashing in
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
That's what I mean.
Player
I
stuff.
want to see the results. I want to see you not get 3-0'd before I'm like believing in you as
Nah.
And if he,
nah,
you know
nah.
what?
We're
you know what?
catching
If
up
he
right now.
loses, then I'm gonna be like, lol, JK, haha. If he loses, if bro
Yeah.
loses.
I was happy
it
to
will be
see that it
interesting to
didn't look
see
like Rock were
after the
being
groups,
carried.
right? I think EMEA is just less interesting in the group stage because there's such a huge gap between the top teams and the ones below them. I think it's just going to be a more.
Is that not
boring
the
group
same as
stage.
NA? Is NA not the
No, I mean, well,
exact
NA
same?
has already shown like significantly more, right? Where there's stuff like M80 losing, there's stuff like LFO looking like a strong team but maybe underperforming. So there's more players, there's more teams that like
Right.
they should be better but they're not. But in EMEA, is anyone like surprised by these results? I feel like these are like the teams you would have called as top 4.
Totally.
So there's no one below that top 4. Maybe Left Right Good Night is like the tough one because I feel like
But
if
there's
they
the
could go to
same-
LAN and get off ping, I could see them
Okay,
being really good.
But
But
there's the same number of like, here's 5 to 6 good teams, and everyone else doesn't matter. It's the same both.
yeah, but isn't it?
regions.
It's just
And-
like 4.
And actually, I would say in EMEA, the top teams are less locked in. Like you put Uber Spraycheck and Twisted Minds in a BO7 right now, or like a BO7 or BO7, I think they go pretty even. Whereas Toronto Defiant probably just wash everyone out. Right at this exact moment, Toronto Defiant is probably the best team.
Well, that's
Like,
the difference. There's a difference between saying the
What
number
about that?
one is gapping the other top four versus the top four gapping everyone else. That's what I'm saying about EMEA. It's like the top four look
EXO went
gapping
for
the
a
rest
5
of the
map
teams.
against Space Station. And EXO are like definitely in there.
Yeah,
when it
so
comes to
EXO,
these
all right,
top
so
5.
I think it is a top 5 right now in EMEA,
See?
right? That's how it
That's a
looks
big
right
Which
now.
is
knock.
kind of the same as
Bro's
NA,
got
where
a
we had
big
like
knock.
Exactly.
Timeless and M80.
EXO is the one team that I think is like not in the top 4, or in the sense that they didn't qualify already, that is like looks competitive. But having all 3 O's for your top 4, for your 3 of the top 4 teams is that's a pretty dominant showing.
All right, so as we're looking at some of these matches, I think we'll further clarify the point that it's a pretty one-sided region because pretty much every group has a favorite to advance. Specifically, Group B, I think we can check in left, right, good night. And
Yeah, they won
also
3-0 already
in
against their
Group
next opponent.
D, Ex Oblivione will surely advance in Group D as well. Group C, interestingly enough, Sheer Cold and Oh Yeah has already played, of course, and that was a map 5 banger, so it might be treated
That
to
was
another
an
map 5
actual
banger.
banger. It was crazy good.
I'm assuming that Oh Yeah will advance over Bingus here, but also in Group
Not
A,
Bingus.
I'm going to hold out for my
Bingus.
sharp new age stock right here. I'm going to unleash the hopium here. Sharp, he looked good in that one matchup where they actually 3-0 their opponent. So yeah, you know, I'm sticking out with
Swedish?
my boys, my Swedish boys.
I've
No
not heard
one's
of a
surprised about
single
this, to be honest,
person
but-
on A Square Tango. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Sharp's out here pub stomping.
Got my man Doge in there as well. Not really my man.
What is this
but
team? New Age? Is that the?
Yeah, New Age. That's my team. I mean, they're playing Peps, who everyone is going to say is the favorite because they have some unbelievable players there on Peps. But they didn't look super comfortable with Hybrid playing tank because Hybrid was playing the Doomfist. So that was a bit of an issue. Maybe it'll be a bit easier for them this week if they decide to just commit to the Malga meta instead. But I was hoping there'd be a chance for New Age to go with the upset there with Peps. But Peps is obviously the favorite in Group A as well.
Peps smoked them 3-0 last time, right? Won't they just win again?
All right. Well, come on.
Peps have
Yeah.
I guess the
have, like,
patch,
an
right?
illness
Is it so?
issue?
Are they're
I'm-
playing after the patch?
As I said,
so-
hopium. Okay, let me huff the hopium, Jake, and you can take it over
Johnny.
from there.
I
think
will
it's-
say this patch could throw a wrench in the works. It could be interesting. in that
These
one.
your
Come on.
favorite players. Can I name your favorite players, Johnny? Do you agree that these are your
Hold
favorite
on, let me
players?
pull up the Swedish players page. Just give me a second. before I
Danin,
can-
Gustav, Hampy, Helmer Drake, Kaya, Kevster, Q2C, Sile, Sharp, and Sparker. Just off the top of my head, by the way, I didn't even look.
Is that like, are you like looking at the
Definitely
page?
didn't even look at Wikipedia.
You forgot about Tvig.
Absolutely not. Sorry, Tvik isn't in OWCS. I just named the ones at OWCS.
Okay, well, you should have added that context before
Okay, my
before
bad.
you went on this, right? Yeah,
Tvik and Tvik
yeah, and Ludday.
I love Lade.
and Snillo.
Yeah, sometimes no,
Okay,
but he's Swedish, so yeah, there you go.
done.
You nailed it. Good job, Avril.
It's that easy.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
that easy. And
What about
Profit,
Swoosh?
but
What about
Profit
Swoosh?
is not Swedish. Moving on anyway. Thank you,
Okay,
Avril.
all right, all
I
right,
appreciate
Chips
that.
in Erasure.
Moving on from that little segment. I mean, I think it's pretty to be expected who the teams are that will advance from European and EMEA. Sorry. And now, before Legday seriously reconsiders why the fuck he went on Plat Chat, because it's probably midnight, past midnight for you at this minute. Don't want to take too much of your time here, Legday. Let's get a quick Korean recap here, Avril. What's going on in the Korean region? I watch the Korean VODs. I have takes, I have opinions, but I'll let you cook because you are the Asia OWCS co-streamer.
Yeah. Korea is still pretty cut and dry expected at this stage. There's not been really any like really strange
There are a
things
few
occurring.
results that are, you raise your eyebrows.
I think Genesis have maybe underperformed. That's probably the one raise your eyebrow because they haven't won yet. They've
Underperformed?
yet-
I think it's
What is
fucking.
going on with this
it's
team?
time. It's time to like fucking panic almost if you're on Genesis.
Well, yeah, it's looking a little dire. They probably shouldn't have lost to Pokerface, but Pokerface is one of those teams. you just
I
can't-
don't think they should have lost to Runaway, but they did lose to Runaway.
No. They should have lost to Runaway because Profit's my boy ran out. The new Lil P, he's the best player in the world. Mark my
Lil
words.
P.
Lil P is
Lil
on the
P coming
come up.
out, bro.
He's
All
on
right.
the come up. If
He did like
so
fucking crazy.
Runaway is legitimately a scary team. They are one of the top teams in the region right
Runaway
now.
or a scary team?
Hardcore Runaway are one of the top teams in the region.
Dude,
promise.
they were fucking. Dude, they were on like the crusty crack pipe
They were
in their match.
fucking alright.
Dude,
They were
Mag bringing
absolutely
out the
fucking-
Reinhardt on push. That was one of the most egregious Reinhardt picks I've ever seen in professional play.
I blame Char for that.
They
I blame
straight
Char
up
for that.
lost push because Mag picked Reinhardt. They straight up lost that map because
That's
he
called
picked
limit
Reinhardt.
testing. That's called limit
Furthermore,
testing. That's what that is.
I mean, the
Limit test
King's
in the
Row-
match. Scopium.
They
Limit
lost the
testing.
King's Row because they picked Mag on Reinhardt too. Like that one a bit more questionable. But they definitely lost Esperanza because they picked Reinhardt.
So the summary is, if they don't pick
Esperanza,
Reinhardt, it's a
holy.
3-0.
Oh,
the summary,
yeah,
right?
that's pretty good
All
analysis.
right,
That's
all
pretty
right.
good analysis, Avril.
Yeah, we're
sure.
gonna deal with a
3-0.
hostage scenario of Mag
Basically,
holding
if it
their
wasn't-
fucking matches hostage.
I will say
Yeah.
there's a very interesting contest for how many? Wait, so is it top 3 from Korea?
Top 3 go to Asia Land, and top 2 from Asia Land go to Dallas.
Yeah, so I mean, well, honestly, let's be honest. Falcons and WAC are going to be top 2 going
Oh,
to
sorry.
Dallas.
Hang on.
top
Hang
four.
on. One other thing, and then 4th place goes to Wild Card, which combines with Japan and Pacific. So really, 4th place is just another
Wait,
seed.
what?
For Korea.
Is this wrong then?
No. So there's an Asia Land first, and Asia Land is going to be top 3 Korea, plus 3 Japan, plus Pacific, plus I think there's a wild card. There's definitely a wild card in there for something. What the fuck's the wild card for again?
The most decipherable format, guys.
The wild card also. Okay, so we got it. Okay, so it's 3 Korea, 2 Japan, 2 Pacific, 1 wild card. So really, assuming that Korea wins the wild card, is 4 Korea, 2 Japan, 2 Pacific, and then from the Asia Land, 2 teams.
Let's
go
be
to
honest,
Dallas.
guys. Korea's winning the wild card.
So basically, what's
I'm
happening
pretty
is
sure.
both Japanese teams are going to Dallas. Is what I'm saying. No, so it's so it's going to be 4 Korea and then eventually 2 Korea, probably. Yeah.
But I think, I mean, I don't know. The Korean teams, there's so many strong teams here. Like, you look at any of these rosters, I mean, that's what's crazy is, like, I mean, we all knew this was going to happen, right? But, like, all right, let me look at the rosters that would be competitive with the top 4 in NA and EMEA. So, obviously, WAC, Team Falcons, both competitive with top 4 NA, EMEA. Probably Genesis, maybe. From the Gamer, for sure competitive. Yeti, I think competitive. Runaway, competitive. Poker Face, competitive. Sin Priest of Gaming, maybe not.
No, you're pushing your luck. You're pushing your luck here with Sin
I
Priest
think
of Gaming. But
literally, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're at that level, but
Everybody
I think
competitive.
you're looking at like 80% of the teams here would be competitive with the top 4 in the other regions. We all knew it was going to happen.
Correct.
We all watched the Overwatch League. I learned to speak fucking Korean, guys.
Bro's assimilating.
That tells you about my read on where the best players in the world are. So I think this region is just exciting to watch because of that. I will say the non-mixed regions until you get to LAN makes the game really crazy because the regions have different reads on the meta, and then you get to like just see who's right. But I also think that is exciting and fun, and I think it'll be like really cool to see because I think it's fun to see different metas clash and see who has the best read and who came up with the best innovations, what region did. And sometimes it's not even the team who's playing it in the end, right? Like in NA, it won't be the team who made up the comp that ends up being the best team at it, but the team, they all play each other. So eventually, whoever becomes the best at the comp that comes out of NA will bring that comp to LAN.
So Jake, are you at home right now?
Yeah.
So you were just in Korea. What did you get up to in Korea? What are you in Korea for?
I just went to see friends. I got a new tattoo.
Is it the Korean flag?
No, it's not
Oh,
the
okay, we can get
Korean
the Korean flag
flag.
tattooed.
I feel like that's like
Well, it's
offensive or something.
It was a
That'd
good
be
guess.
weird.
No, it was just a good guess. So you actually went to the
Yeah,
OWC's
I went to
Korea
the
game.
source. Yeah, I
so
watched the
how-
game.
Which ones did you watch? What day were you there?
I just came for the Genesis versus oh my god, was it Poker Face Genesis or not Poker Face?
It's one of the games, yeah.
Man,
Yeah, I
was
think
drinking
that's
the
what I
soju.
watched. Yeah, that's what I watched. I watched Peppy fuck some shit up. Peppy looks good.
Pepe. Yeah, the Pepe
You just saw the
Orisa,
one
was that the
game?
game?
Yeah,
you see the
I
one
only saw
game?
the one game. Yeah.
Oh wow,
I came just as
Okay.
the other one was finishing. Unfortunately, the Runaway
bro.
versus.
So you missed out on Lil P. Guy came
Yeah, I
in
did
just
miss
as
out on
Lil
Lil P. I
Got
heard he was
done fucking
popping.
at 5 a.m.
This roster looks really sick. I think their biggest issue will be Mag's hero pool, but I think Mag started transitioning earlier than most tanks in terms of like getting off the I only play Winston grind. and
I
starting
mean,
to play other
honestly,
heroes,
I think with the new patch, I was going to pitch this as an opinion that like
Actually insanely good for
Runaway are actually a team that I think are kicking themselves about the new patch, because it felt to me, Avril, that they were in a really good spot where, especially we saw against Yeti, that Runaway were cooking with the tank swaps, and Mag always had like Mag pulled out the counter pick in almost every tank matchup, whether it was, you know, pulling out the Orisa versus Donghack, you know, limiting or abusing Donghack's limited flexibility as a tank player.
Yeah.
It felt like Mag was really cooking with the tank swaps in most of these matchups. Not the Reinhardt, but in general, it felt like Runaway were really on top of the meta.
Yeah, they cooked a little bit
120
less.
damage fire strike. Mag is so
They-
bad.
Mag is back,
They
dude.
cooked too hard versus Genesis and cooked just right, medium rare steak, the way I like it versus Yeti. So yeah, I think Runaway are an amazing team right now, and I think a lot of fans also said that Donghack looks a little exposed without Field and Chio to back him up. I guess it's kind of harsh. I don't know. Donghack needs to his team is quality wise definitely of the lower tier compared to Runaway, so there's work to be done there. So that's
I
not a
think
hugely
support
surprising
line
result.
could use some work on Yeti. I think there's just a little bit of a dearth of like elite supports out of Korea. Like I think the other two roles are just stronger overall in Korea. The tank and
Korea's a very
DPS roles.
DPS heavily DPS.
I think tank
favored
too
kind
though.
of
They're just
region.
very good tanks. Like I mean, maybe it's because you have Jumpman and Max
Generally-
together on. I still think Jumpman and Max are good players, even though they didn't have like,
know,
the
I
greatest
agree.
season on Shock. I think they're still very good.
Well, it's funny. A lot of the players that didn't have
And
great
also,
seasons
it's
of
because
Shock are looking really
you've
good.
got WAC and Team Falcons are hoarding the tanks. you got like top 4 tanks on 2 teams.
Yeah,
It's
they got the
crazy,
Federal
actually.
Reserve of tanks
Having
over there.
having Smurf and Hanvin on one team is criminal. It is actually criminal. Like I love Fearless. He's an insane player, but like, come on, Smurf Hanvin is like the only other tank line I could ever imagine being stronger. It's like
Yeah,
I never considered Smurf Hanvin. It wasn't in my imagination.
Surely
wasn't
it's
big enough.
illegal. No
Yeah,
one
I
can
didn't
get
think-
away
I
with
didn't think-
this.
I didn't think Smurf Hanbin considered Smurf Hanbin because Fearless was in there for the longest time.
Yeah.
So there was that. Yeah, we're not even going to see WAC versus Falcons for a little while yet. They don't play until the final
Not that
week,
it matters,
literally.
guys. Not that it matters. If any, I will bet $100 against anybody right now that those will be the 2 teams coming out of Korea.
$100 is a very weak bet. But I'll
I mean,
Yeah, I don't-
I'm not a gambling man. I don't like to
Bro's
gamble.
trying to
would
get
need
that
odds on
Porsche,
that.
man. You can't take too many risks.
I would need like plus 300 on that or something.
No,
and
that's a
maybe I
50
consider it.
50. That's why I'm
You'll
making
get
the
the
bet.
50-50.
Because
You
I
are
want it. Because
horrible
that's
at
free
this.
money for me. That's free
Hey,
money
listen.
for me is why.
bigger the bet, faster you get to the Porsche. So, yeah, despite Korea being, this is a weird thing in Korea. Korea feels really close, like almost anyone can beat anyone. But at the same time, they are full of 3-0s. It's a really weird dynamic where the general skill level of the teams are close, and yet they're just far away enough that the better team is just also still going to win. Even though on paper, even in the individual maps, you feel like, the margin between the teams winning and losing is still like not that great, and yet it becomes a 3-0 just because the team that's supposed to win just kind of just squeeze the margins that much further, and so they'll get each of the one individual maps. And the reason why I bring this up is I feel like when you watch NA and EU, it's not that close. Even on the map-to-map basis, not that close at all. Like, top teams are just way fucking better. But in Korea, I feel like if a top team slips up enough, a lower-tier team could take them down. Because if that gap is available, the problem is the gap is usually not available because the better teams are just that much better.
Yeah, I feel like in general, WAC and Runaway, WAC and Falcons should be top 2. So it really comes down to like Runaway, From the Gamer, Poker Face, Yeti to like scramble amongst themselves and hope for some good series between those teams. We are getting WAC against From the Gamer, and I'm really jealous of Rush Take, by the way. Rush was able to say this first, but I really do feel like Bernard is one of the players that stood out to me the most, that I was impressed by.
Yeah.
Agree.
Specifically because From the Gamer, when they played the Zarya Cassidy composition, it was just a composition that worked for that team. You got Alfie on the Tracer, Floor on the Cassidy,
That is
Bernard on
like
the Zarya.
that was the meta basically in Korea. That's like the way to beat Doomfist is to do this. That's why Doomfist followed the meta is like you just play Zarya Cast Tracer and you can like counter the dives and still just shove car all the time.
Korea is happening later today for me. I don't know maybe it's tomorrow for you guys.
About 8
but
hours.
If Korea
If Korea
starts
plays
running
Malga.
Malga,
All right, if Korea plays Malga, it's Jover
It's
because
Jover.
historically
This game's
the
done, bro.
Koreans hate comps like that are like brain dead, run at you comps. they hate that stuff. They
I
don't
hope
play
they
it
don't
unless
play
it's
Malga.
like unless they're forced. If you like can't win, then they'll play it.
For the
And
sake
so-
of my brain cells, please no Malga in Korea.
No, but it's
please.
like honestly, it's good if they do because then it's like signaling how severe the problem is if it is the
Oh,
case.
no.
Maybe it won't
the
be,
alarm bell.
but it's like
Aw.
I mean, historically, that's been like the weakness of the Korean region in general is that like when the meta is some like absolutely psychotic like Moira Reaper comp, they like won't play it no matter what. They like it's like it's like
Guys,
dishonorable.
hey,
They
guys,
won't play
I
it
can't-
and then they'll lose to it. So like historically, that's been the weakness of APAC in general is they're too
Yeah.
committed to the high skill comps and they won't play a low skill comp that is just broken.
Hold up, fellas. Hold up, fellas.
yeah.
I can't wait for my GOAT in contention for best tank of the world, Smurf. Pull ups on some Malga tonight. Ooh, way. That's going to be good. Some
maybe
Smurf
they can
Malga.
play
Can't wait for it.
Malga, I
I'm
want to
not-
see you give a
I think it's-
contextless screenshot on Aaron Keller, just of a Korean tank playing Malga. Like, this is the warning bell. Gondor's called for
It's
raid.
too early to say for me that Malga is so good. I can still see other. I think it's just too early in the patch. We need to see like it if it's dominant for like a week plus. That's when you start to know it's like, man, this is looking really grim for other heroes. But I still think there's room to like innovate around it. Like I'm still curious. Like, can you not run like a Zen Sigma style and beat this style? Maybe it's the case that you can't, and it's just too easy to punish you. But I can see a world where there's some like hyper poke comp that can deal with this Malga. And so
Toronto,
I'm kind of curious.
Toronto's running Orisa, Anna, Curry with a Tracer and Cass
Oh, this is
against
the
it.
scrims right now.
This is the scrim
They're
comp.
playing
They're
Cass.
playing Tracer
and
Cass.
Ana?
It could be a map specific thing. It's Coliseo.
I
I
don't
don't
like
know.
that comp. I think that comp sounds so bad.
They're
I
trying
mean,
to. They,
why?
they're experimenting probably. It's also scrims. You
Yeah,
know,
so honestly, I think some people there's like an experimental. They're not trying to like quote unquote counter Malga. They just think maybe there's a better way to play. But like I think the risk, honestly, maybe the problem in the end with these Sigma comp, maybe you can beat Malga and then they just like go Doom and you lose. They like the Malga swaps one dive hero and then that's the problem with this Malga comp. It's so flexible. Tracer, Sojourn, Lucio, Kiri, you can play any tank in the game with this comp, and it's actually a pretty functional comp because it's so flexible between Tracer, Sojourn can be poke DPS, same with Lucio, Kiri are like not really poke heroes, that's their weakness, but dive or rush is totally viable with these four heroes. Maybe you have to swap like one of the DPS or something like that, but there's so much stability in those hero picks that could be the problem with Malga being so good, is it beats the other dive tanks, and then if you hard counter Malga, you get dove. Like they just switch to dive.
I'll say this much about Korea right now is, and then someone else can jump in about this, or we can move on. Is
I think we're done
that
talking about Malga
right
for this
now?
episode.
Yeah. I'm ready. Let's go back to
Executive
Korea.
order.
Is that Korea right now is, in my opinion, pretty solidly. It's obviously still Falcons whack on top, and then I think it's a lock in between, in my opinion, from the game and Runaway for third, fourth. Still to be decided who is third, who is fourth there. And then everyone else is fighting for every other position. So I think Genesis is falling out of favor there. What's interesting is both Moon and Rush recently did Q&As, and they both said that WAC is the best team in Korea right now. They both think that. Now, take with a grain of salt there, because Moon is also, I believe, the coach of WAC, so possibly a little biased. Just
Maybe.
saying.
He said his own.
Maybe
Of course, he's gonna say his
biased.
own team's the best,
I
bro.
also said this. I also asked both of them who they thought each of the best player in their respective
Okay,
roles
he said
were.
he's saying the best DPS. If you don't say proper, you're just coping. I'm sorry. I don't care what team you're
okay,
on. It's a
hold
cope.
on. And I asked
L
him.
plus ratio.
I asked him.
It's
I
a
asked him.
cope.
And I asked him. And Rush said he sang Smurf Fielder for the best in their particular role. I asked Moon the same question. Moon says, "Get ready for this." He says he sang Jumbin Shu. So he just named 3 of his own players.
I mean, I would do the same in his position. I'm not criticizing
fucking
Rush.
named 3 of
Ran
his
his
own
answer
players.
past PR, you know.
He just,
Wait,
I'm
who
like,
was the
"Moon."
who was the first person you said that said he sang Smurf?
He sang
Fielder?
Smurf Fielder was Rush, and then Moon said he sang
Oh.
Jumbin Shu. Which is Jumbin's cap, because I mean Smurf is definitely better, let's be honest. They
Smurf,
both
yeah,
said
you can't
they
really.
both said he sang though, which I felt was very curious. I was
But
like,
they're both. Are they
"Hmm."
both coaches of that team?
I mean,
Only
Heesang was
Moon.
scouted
Only
by
Moon.
Rush. He was part of the like latter
mean,
element Mystic.
Don't get me wrong. I think
builds.
Heesang's a monster, but I think Proper
Heesang
is
wasn't
just
an
the best
EM.
player we've had in years. And
I
like, you
agree.
can tell
Was on the
somebody
EM.
can.
Proper
And
heads.
I mean, what makes Proper so crazy is like I can see there being metas where Proper. I mean, can I see there being metas where Proper's not the best player? I'm not actually sure I can say that.
Sombra.
But Yeah, maybe Proper's on Sombra or whatever, some like low impact hero, team play hero, sure. But he will never play that hero. He will always be on the other hero. I guess with Stalker, maybe he might have to play Sombra. That would be pretty bad. But I'm sure he'll. I mean, Proper. What's crazy about him is that he's elite on all the DPS heroes, which is kind of crazy. So there's been very few players who've ever done that. Maybe none on his level that have been so consistent on every role. I mean, everyone talks about Proper's Tracer because he kind of came in as the Tracer, and that's what we think about. But I don't really think that's like his best hero. I think Falcons are actually smart to have a player like Stalker with him who is also a monster on Tracer, but then like your Tracer is not the flex role anymore. The real, or maybe it never really was. Let's be honest. The flex role is the hero who's not Tracer, who has to play many different heroes because Tracer is locked in because it's broken forever and always. You can't fix it.
It's the rules.
Yeah, it's the rules. Maybe someday they'll figure it out. I don't have much faith anymore. You just have to know how to play Tracer now, which I've accepted. I've made my peace. I play Tracer now. I have to. You just accept it.
I think
7 years
Rush
later or
was,
whatever.
Rush was nearly there, but he probably should have said Proper than he's saying. He's saying it's always been Lil Bro to Proper his entire career.
No, I respect that. I'd be picking my own players too. If you ask me and I'm coaching, I'll be saying
Rush.
players.
But Rush is not coaching. Rush is not coaching.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe he's doing because he's like maybe he knows him personally, you know. So like it gets weird, and you know he'll personally.
Thing
but
is, Rush also baited me. Rush said Genesis was third, and he baited me. So Rush can be wrong too. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Dude, that Genesis team, I can't stop thinking about Genesis. It's such a bad like aura team to bring back what the Albert Ye conversation about like bad auras. Like
some bad juju there.
Yeah,
it's the back line. I think it's the back line.
Yeah, I think they have support issues here.
Like
I think Troy Siwan also didn't look that good to me.
So someone in my
he
Twitch
like
chat,
he is having kind of some weak
pretty bad source of information, bad source when you reference a Twitch chatter, but someone in my Twitch chat said that Kalios made the team. And so you got Kalios who made the team. He's also the tank. You got Decay on there. Teru is like crying after a game and now playing Lucio, and it's just like
I learned about a meme in Korea.
It's bad vibes.
Decay is the owner of the orphanage.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's getting tough out here.
Kalio's just like assembled the bad mental Avengers.
I will say, Decay, after all these years, I feel like Decay, as much as we can say Proper is the best player ever, Decay has the most longevity I've ever seen at that level. Decay has been the best for, like, not the best, let's say, but he's been at an elite level, like, whatever, top 5 in his role, whatever number you want to say, for so long now, and he's still there, man. I watched Decay play. He's a freak, man. He was hitting so many multi-kills. And it wasn't enough for the team. You know, they were getting owned. I feel like there was also some comp gaps there. I was watching. I was like, weird decisions from some of these teams.
That's a really weird pronunciation for Prophet. I don't know. No, but Prophet retired. But last year that would have applied to Prophet. I feel.
No,
anyway.
but I mean, even Prophet wasn't like he was like, you know, I think like retiring, right? For Decay to still be here, right? Like Prophet, I think hasn't been around as long as Decay he's taken the throne of like the last man standing after all these years.
Decay played Apex? Was Decay in Apex?
Yeah, it was a Kongdo one
I
too.
think very early.
Kongdo teams, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Was he on
He's been
Uncia
around
at the time, I
for
think?
so long. It's actually unreal how long he's lasted. And he's played multiple roles too.
Oh, you're right. Holy shit. Yeah, Kongdu Uncia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
Uncia just
I don't
before,
know if he was on that
Cloud9
level on
came in
Apex, but like from Overwatch League Season 1, he's been a monster. So.
Yeah, no, he definitely has. I mean, someone's gonna come out there and just shout from the rooftops, just like Twilight or something like that.
Decay really is.
But
the
like
best
all
player on
those guys
team,
that you would
by
talk
far.
about have retired just now or recently.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
That's true.
Sure,
Decay's
in the
still
Lord of
here,
2024,
especially now,
where
right? Like,
Decay has managed to achieve 0-3 in this year. I mean, I know he's been stand out individually. Choi Sivan, you know, Swedish pronunciation again, but he's been really. Choi Sivan, Choi Sivan has been really good too. But I don't know. It's a shame that Choi is stuck on this team. Out of all the teams,
I don't know though. Watching, I feel like Choi was like losing his duels when I was watching. At least that was one game.
Yeah, he looked weak in that one game, but I think generally I still believe him as a player. But he did look weak.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
that
he's
one
had
game.
great performances. I can't speak. I don't think this is enough to like be worried about him as a player. I am, of course, worried about this team. I do feel like, basically, I mean, Choi Siwan, like maybe he's underperforming. Decay is really good, but maybe
Choi
the
Siwan was the only one in the kill feed.
But,
Felt like so.
But Teru and I mean, Terra and Maka. I feel like this is not the strongest support line, and the tank
It's
line not the strongest either.
it's tough out there. Not the strongest support line, not the strongest tank line.
I mean, the
It's,
problem is just how elite these super teams are. Chorong and Shu, Fielder and Shio. Those are the backlines you're playing against. Tanks,
Violet and
oh my-
Finn.
let's not even talk about the tanks. That's fucked up, actually. And then these two teams. Honestly, like it is just a scrap for whatever. How many? You said there's like what? 3 teams out of Korea and then 1 wildcard team out of Asia will go to the Asia qualifier.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then 2 out of there goes to Dallas.
So probably 4 teams out
Yeah.
of Korea.
So in the end, only 2 teams out of Asia come to Dallas, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
Then literally, I'm like not
This Falcon's
convinced
whack.
anything matters. I'm not convinced anybody. It's like I'm not
Mr.
convinced anybody can take a
Circuses.
map off these teams. I'm not convinced. If
Oh,
somebody takes a map
we
off,
use
these
this as a
guys-
source of
Doesn't
entertainment.
I
It's
mean, in
entertaining.
the end, right? That's why I'm always thinking ahead, like who can win it all, you know? And I think that for me, that's Whack and Falcons as like that, just on that other level right now.
Yep.
Sports.
Agreed.
You never know what's gonna happen, Jake. You gotta be
That's
there
true.
for the moment.
That's true. But it's esports, and so the gaps are way bigger between these teams.
The
than
only
they are in
the only
traditional
way
sports.
the only way they could nerf Korea is by only giving them 2 slots instead of 3. That's what they had to do.
Yeah, honestly.
Maybe they'll
I
give
mean,
them
I don't know why
one
they
next
did
year.
that.
Who knows?
There
No, I'm
should
just
be
kidding.
more. There should be 3.
They give a
out of
champion slot.
Asia.
All right.
Tell him, Jake. Tell him.
I'm a firm
Tell
believer
Sean.
Asia should
DM
absolutely-
Sean about it.
Why?
Tell him
Why
to make
does
it 3.
All right, historically, guys, Europe is the weak region. Europe should have 2. That's my hot take.
Whoa! That's no pre-Overwatch League. I don't even know if that's true.
Pre-Overwatch, what are you talking about? That was 5 years ago, bro. Who cares?
That was before the franchise
Respect
system.
our
That's it.
history,
That's
Jake.
it.
Look at the Overwatch League. You
This
should look at
system
Overwatch
in
League.
2024 is the biggest comparison. It's like 2017.
No, it's not like 2017 because that was 7 years ago. All right.
You know who won
From a
North
former
America in
perspective,
2017? European colonists. Envy came over and decimated you.
Yeah,
No,
but my
no,
point is just
frick-
that
frick
for the
those guys.
last how many years, right? Like there's just been way like the best players in the world have come from Korea, and second most is from like NA, and
Yeah.
and Europe is third.
No.
Like if you compete 3 regions, for surely you put Asia on top, basically by the dominance of South Korea alone. But whatever, it's
I'm not
so
giving
dominant.
North America that.
But,
I'm
but
not
did
giving North America
America
that.
get more players in simply because it was easier to get North American players into the Overwatch League?
That could be true. That's a fair criticism, honestly.
Like,
but I
look,
think also the
EMA has always
results.
had
There was more
logistical
NA
issues.
players like having great results in the league overall. No.
I mean, yeah, but that could also be just
Maybe it
indicative
is over-
of
you
like
could argue it's
the
overrepresented.
logistic hurdles for EMEA players have to overcome to actually make that
That's
happen.
fair. That's fair. Well, regardless, Asia should have more slots than NA. and
It
EMEA.
should. It
Like,
should.
Asia should
Has
have.
it not been
If anyone
EMEA?
should have more slots, it should be Korea, man. Like it just should be. I'm not as much as I'm an NA player and I love the boys from NA. I could fight over NA, EMEA, whatever. That's a fight that I agree is not. You can't clearly say one way or the other, but it is a little weird that
We'll get
Korea
a
has
proper
less
NA
slots.
versus EMEA episode at one point and just dress up and
Yeah,
maybe
have
make a
some-
proper
have some
debate show out of
brawls.
it. Yeah.
But honestly, I don't think it's like you can really even say one way or the other. I can admit that my own bias. There's no like strong reason to say one region or the other. But Korea, there's a pretty strong reason.
There's a compelling body of
It's
evidence.
really obvious that that's like such an outsized proportion of very good players.
Yeah.
The fact that you're looking at like the Korea and every single name is blue on Wikipedia is crazy.
Yeah, because there's just so many pros. And then like, guess where the imports come in the other regions? Huh? They're all Korean. It's crazy. Wow.
Hey, don't say that. There's Kaffa in
Yeah,
Europe.
Cuff has been brought
Oh,
in.
There's a North
well,
American player in
Australians
EMEA too.
No, but
And,
think, I mean, I that's another way to look at it. How many imports does your region? How many exports does your region offer to the rest of the world? That they should get another slot if only for that.
I will say in the Korean region, Saudi Arabia has 1. So there you know. That's
I will
all
say
Koreans.
actually, despite the reality on the ground of like there only being 2 slots for Asia, Korea probably still gonna have the most players in like whatever it is, the top 8 that go to lands of any country.
That would
Despite
be-
having
that would be
less
fun to
slots
track.
from the region, they're still gonna have the most players because almost all the top 8 teams are gonna have 2 Korean imports.
Yeah,
That's,
you
it's
we
gonna
need
be
to get some. Gotta get some Korean imports in EMEA next. That's what they're missing.
Yeah, we've
Hey,
just
we
got
got
our 2 on
checkmate to
rock.
Sayaki already.
Yeah, checkmate Izuyaki tearing it up.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine
honestly-
Rock make Dallas? If Rock make Dallas, is actually just gonna be all Koreans in Dallas.
Imagine the top 2 are double Korean imports. But you have like Toronto, almost certainly the dominant favorite team from NA. M80 maybe underperforming against Timeless, but like I still think they're going to qualify in the end. Both teams with 2 imports. And then also M80 has like, I want to see those guys off ping, you know, once they can get to NA. I feel like people like Pelican can have a much bigger impact.
Yeah, I just wanna take some credit real quick. I did say that this was gonna be the year for Spectra, and people thought, you know, with the Hydron Pelican DPS line, wasn't gonna see Spectra play. Guess what?
Oh, I think for sure he'll play. I mean, Hydron will probably
himself.
play like. I mean, I think that's a very balanced DPS lineup. Honestly, you could play. I could see all the groupings of those. It's not. There's no one of those DPS who I think would not play. It's like a meta thing. You know, for sure, if they're playing Tracer Echo, Hydron's not going to play, right? It'll be Pelican, Spectra. Maybe he would play Tracer, do the ping or something, but in the end, Hydron will play most realistically for like a core hit scan. Spectra will be like, actually, it's hard to say between Spectra and Pelican. They do have a more similar role, but after this change, maybe I could see double flex players being more viable in general.
All right. At some point in this episode, Solomon, if you're still awake, I think we're ready to move on to the last segment of the episode. Yippee, he says. It's going to be Brent's Player of the Week. And gentlemen, I do think there is only one candidate for Brent's Player of the Week.
He's already here.
He's already here. And he's in the back.
Is it me?
No,
I'm Brent's Player of the Week?
Can you get out the way?
Get down. Get out of the frame.
Just move yourself a little
You're
bit. There we
obfuscating the
go.
player of the week.
Give me twice the abs. Give me twice the abs. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, that was a pretty good flex right there. Plat Chat Bodybuilding, episode 1. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Well, first of all, congratulations to Mitch. You are Brent's Player of the Week. There we go.
I go.
Amazing cut. Took like 3 years. And if you've been trying to cut before, you know how obnoxious it is to cut. How much worse you get at playing Sigma. It's pain. There's more headaches, sleepy. It's not fun. You get more moody. Not good for your professional Overwatch career. So credit for Mitch for sticking it out. AVRL's just gone. I don't even know.
My camera broke. My camera broke, dude. I'm not even joking.
Man.
That's
God
okay.
damn.
Just bring
Dude, I
back,
need to restart my
bring back
camera.
the player of the week, man.
That's a really unique backdrop of the OBS logo that you're
Whoa!
Look
Jesus
at him.
Christ.
Sheesh. Look at
That's
that
my
heart rate.
caster of the year.
138. God
He's
damn.
an animal.
Wow,
God
what a
damn.
beast.
Look at that heart rate.
Yeah.
Look at him go, man.
Look at him go. Well, now we can start eating French fries again. Let me know. Let me know on the
It's
cheap
over,
meals.
baby.
The hard part is maintaining, man, after the cut. The cut is the hard part, but it's also hard to maintain.
But I'm not joking when I say my camera is broken.
Oh,
I can't
Alright,
get my
well.
camera back on.
It's okay. We got everything we need right here.
just
I think I have to
do
restart
good,
my
bro.
whole OBS. Damn it.
I wouldn't worry about it because we're about to wrap up this episode.
Okay. Well,
I did
case.
at some point in this episode realize that we were gunning for the Plat Chat record of longest episode we've ever done. And I don't think we're quite there yet. I don't know what the way older episodes are, but we're on par with the 2022 playoffs episode, which was 3 hours and like 25 minutes. So I think we're around. I think we're around there. God damn. God damn. You know, Uber's gonna send me a text or something and just be like, "Hey, thanks for letting me be on Plat Chat for once," because God knows I don't think he's ever been on Plat Chat before. So
We should have him on sometime.
yeah, we'll have Mitch on sometime when he's not too busy hosting the VCT desk, of course. That is.
Of course.
No, just a banter. You know, he's been.
Man's got shit to do.
Wait, what are you doing resizing those photos, Avril? Come on now. You're
Just
messing
making
up the
wide
proportions.
mix.
ratio.
The
Wide
ratios.
doing
mix.
wide Mitch.
Wide Mitch.
Yeah.
Look at those biceps. Oh, look
The
at
man
those.
to save Overwatch
stretched out.
Esports.
God
Wide
damn.
Uber.
Wide Uber. People.
Wide Uber. Whatever. Okay.
Wide
What
people
are we
Uber.
actually at? What are we actually at? How long has this episode been on for? 3 hours. 3:11. All right. Well, we're gonna be 10 minutes short of the record. That's how it goes. Avril, don't get us monetized. All right. End the episode. We'll be back next week. Goodbye, everybody.
outta here.
Good night. Get us out.